and welcome back to Outside the Box, an MLS podcast. My name is Wanners. We will be shortly joined by a one Joss Bathtub whenever they, get on. Kind of had to start this one a bit late, but I'm joined right now by Jeremy Peterman.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday indeed. And there he is, Mr. Joss Bathtub.
Oh, we're live. What's up?
We are live, dude. Not even by the way, sorry to the listeners. I had my middle schoolers that I was coaching, and the game started late, of course. Just my luck, honestly. But yeah, what's up, Joss? How you doing?
I'm good. I was just finishing up my Jeremy Peterman fan fiction.
I mean, you may as well start reading it off, so I can finish up my notes. So, how far did you get in that?
Only a couple of pages, passages. I really just wanted Jeremy to see what I was working
passages.
with. Yeah.
I will be seeing it eventually, so it better be good. I have high expectations.
I can give a little bit, Jeremy gazed longingly at Phil, the weight of their unspoken words sitting heavily in the air. I think it's pretty good. It's a good start. Where is this going? I mean, I think there's a lot of like, whoa, what's happening here? That
will it end up on a bike? No, that's reserved for you and Joey Saputo. I forgot.
True.
With, a romantic picnic basket, and you eventually convincing Joey to give us full control over soccer operations at CF Montreal.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we deserve at this point.
I was about to make the case that this is also. We should also say Daniel. Well, I was not able to make the podcast. Shout out to Daniel. Hoping he's doing all right. Some personal stuff going on. But with that being said, I did want to take this time for because I mean, already eight games in. Like tonight's episode is a bit different. We're going live. It's called Open Cup content delay because usually we record on Tuesdays, and then of course the pod goes up early Wednesday morning. But we got shout out to Jeremy for sharing the link. Javim Patch.
Bobby, ¿qué
pasó? So yeah, we're doing it live, right? A little bit of a different take on the OTB, and instead of going match by match, guys, I figured we'd just go to the top of the standings and work our way down. Kind of a little bit of a pretenders or contenders show, really. But I also wanted to make the case to a one Joey Saputo that it's time. I think it's time, guys. I think it's time we because what? How much does it take? How much does a million? How much does a DP take? Like $1 million, right? Like what's the cutoff for a DP contract?
No, it's like 1.8 this year.
See, we can split that between us four, right?
Yeah, that's pocket change for a guy like me. Actually, I can afford that.
Because what I'm thinking is if Montreal is not going to be spending on DPs, they may as well be spending on us. You know what I mean? Hypothetical Montreal, like I don't mind splitting a $1.6 million contract between the four of us. Honestly, we all get $400,000. I think Joey, why not? Why not? I feel like
scared of Joey. What are you scared of?
Who's the guy that's coaching the Lakers right now for what's his name?
JJ Redick.
Yeah, didn't he go from podcast to coach?
He did. It wasn't very popular, if I remember correctly. But then again, that just means we have to find LeBron. We have to find LeBron James of soccer, guys. And I'm pretty sure I know who that is.
Who is it? Is it still Gianluca Busio?
No, it's Pulisic. We just gotta convince him to come to Montreal. That should be easy.
I feel like if we all offered up a player to bring that used to be on our teams. Like I'm thinking Busio from SKC, stealing Josh's pick there. But Jeremy, if you were to bring back a former Portland Timber to join this Montreal, we're starting off hypothetical Montreal because of course they fired their head coach. Oh my God, Neymar. But Josh, former SKC player, you're bringing over to hypothetical Montreal.
If you want a serious answer, free Caden Pierre from the slums of Belgium, bring him home. If you want my fake answer, it is Celtic Shaq Brad Davis.
Okay, Brad Davis.
Current Brad Davis. He's like 40 something now.
Yeah, I was about to say, wait, is he still playing? That's kind of crazy.
No, but I wanted to do a Celtic Shaq pick as well. You know, one of those pictures like way washed because that's what Brad Davis was at SKC. So my serious answer would be Caden Pierre. Get him in. It wouldn't be that expensive. We could bring him over from Belgium. But my funny answer is Celtic Shaq. My Brad Davis.
Jeremy, who's your former Timber coming over to hypothetical Montreal?
Well, I think it's got to be someone who could be a DP, right? Because that's what they need the most. They don't get DPs. So I'm torn between a Vander, who I think would just love Montreal without having to, where he could just get 30 goal involvements a season and not have to worry about winning anything. Santiago Moreno is another contender, but I would also say Dairon Asprilla, but Montreal's not going to the playoffs anytime soon, so I'm sure it wouldn't be that fun to have Dairon Asprilla there, considering he becomes a superhero in the playoffs. So let's just up the chaos meter to 10. I'm taking Brian Fernandez.
Okay.
Turn it up. Let's go.
Is he still allowed in the
quality? Well, he's still playing. I believe he's at. I always keep like a Thought Mob tab open, just like what's Brian Fernandez up to. He is a free agent at 31 years old. His most recent club was Tires, but not the Tires, the Primera B Tires, and that's coming off of 5 goals in 27 games in 2024 for Almirante Brown. So, I don't know, man. There could be something there, but as far as I'm concerned, I think Brian Fernandez could be a really fun addition to Montreal. But if I'm going to be serious, it's probably a Vander. You know, just get a Vander up there. Let him have fun more than anything. He won't. He'll be free from the pressure of expectations, and he could just bang in free kicks and lose a lot of soccer games. I'm sure he'd love that.
My former Rapid to bring over to hypothetical Montreal is 41-year-old. Let me make sure this is correct, though. 41-year-old Kai Kamara. Just to just to have him get another
for me too.
Get another player on the get another team on the on the list of MLS teams he's played. Where is he now? Man, this is just going to be the where are they now episode. He's not even playing right now. Man, he didn't score at all for Cincinnati. That's kind of a bummer. But
it's so funny though.
I hate to break the news to you, but he's been on Montreal. Kai Kamara.
He has been?
Yeah.
Well, we're bringing him back. Oh yeah, he has been. Wow. I completely forgot about that time.
On a 1-year deal.
Man, just snuck right in there. Okay, well.
Dude, he scored 9 goals in 32 games.
Oh yeah, that was he was on the on-seats team.
That's what it was. I mean, when you got Georgia Mihailovic, that was going to be one of my picks, but he already used to play for Montreal. It would be like a homecoming of sorts, but maybe Ralph Priso. Me and Ralph Priso to begin our back line there. We gotta get just as good a coach as Jesper Soren. You're right, Jesper? No. God, I'm already forgetting. Is it Jesper Sorensen? Yeah,
It
yeah.
is Jesper Sorensen.
Oh,
See,
man.
I was
We got to put down Unk, bro.
dude, I wanted to say Pascal Sorensen, but then I stopped myself.
You did this last week. It's good. You're getting better. You get more in the flow of the season.
Well, Jesper Jensen will sure enough be the coach, I think. But yeah, I mean, I guess since we're talking about Montreal, guys, I know I was going to start at the top with Vancouver, but Montreal, it really does just seem like they're the beat 'em up team, right? Like I was thinking about them heavily against Philly, and it was this thing where I'm like, yeah, Philly are comically bad. Six without a win is funny, but they're gonna beat Montreal. You know, even Montreal at home, it just felt like, you know, like even at home, it's like, man, this team just got no juice. Are we set to bury Montreal now? Like just from here on out, is there anything worth? Because honestly, when we talk Montreal, we're always talking about them hypothetically. So it's always so much more fun to see what we could do with this team. But fellas, in the real life, in the literal Montreal, like they got like how are we feeling? Are we just is this the de facto worst team in the league every year? Like easy?
Yes, they are, and they have no shame in being so, which is, I mean, you kind of have to admire it, but at the same time, like it's different for it to be Montreal to have this mentality as opposed to a team with no fans. I'm not gonna mention any of well, I'm not going to mention which teams I would say have no fans and should actually be relegated to this Montreal tier. I mean, Austin has fans, but I'd much rather them be in this like Montreal mentality. So I think that the people of Montreal deserve better. I was seeing something this week where if they had a 40,000 seat stadium, it would regularly sell out because that's the appetite that people in Montreal have for a good soccer team. And they haven't had a good soccer team in years. And a lot of that, it's just blatantly obvious why they haven't, because they refuse to spend and they make ridiculous coaching decisions. Like Courtois got fired last year before he even had the chance to coach a home game. I don't know what the thought process is behind that, because there is none. It's just stupid. And then congratulations to Marco Donadell, who does get to coach a home game this year. It doesn't change his fate, but at least he's able to get one home game under his belt in the year 2026. They are very much a lost cause, which is very unfortunate because there are several interesting players on this team. Like you had Wiki Carmona going gangbusters in the first month of this season. You still have Prince Owusu, and they've come really close to getting a couple of good results. Like they nearly knocked off Cincinnati in Cincinnati, a place that was described to me as a fortress. I don't know how true that really is. They thumped the Red Bulls 3-0 at Sports Illustrated Stadium, Red Bull Arena, whatever the fuck it's called now. And then, of course, they opened their season by getting just pants by San Diego. But, like, that isn't too bad of a result, honestly. Like, it's kind of par for the course there. Like, it's unfortunate because I would say that this schedule is tougher than usual to open up a year because they always have to start the season on the road. But, yeah, I mean, Marco Donadell was always doomed. He just always was. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's always unfortunate. I wish that someone competent like us could be in charge of making the sporting decisions on the Montreal side so they could actually field a competitive roster that their fans desperately deserve.
Josh, anything you want to add on Montreal in particular?
I'm not ready to write them off yet because I am unfortunately a Sporting KC believer. So I have to understand where we're at as a club and realize that if I write off Montreal, Sporting KC cannot be that far behind. So I'm not ready to write them off yet, but there are levels. There are levels here, and Montreal and SKC occupy probably the same place in my mind in terms of the goodness of a team. So I'm still upset about the Laurent Courtois firing. I feel like that is just it's like killing off the funny side character in a film. And ever since then they've been cursed. And obviously Prince Owusu, free him from his shackles. But there's a lot, I think. There's a lot going wrong up in Montreal, and maybe selling the team or moving it on to new ownership is the only path for that club to reestablish itself, or maybe changing the badge to a butthole badge again. I don't know.
We got this from Chill Wizard. Montreal versus Switchbacks. Oh, be careful there, Josh. I didn't mean to startle you there with the Switchbacks.
Okay,
but...
okay, buddy. Okay, buddy.
I mean, I know I said we'd start at the top, but we may as well go to Philadelphia next. We're going to go bottom to top, I think. I think it's just much more fun to get the bad teams out of the way first. Philadelphia, guys. Bradley Carnell finally gets his first win on the road against Montreal, no less. And like I said, like it was a game for both teams where it was kind of a must win of like I was so ready for this to be a draw and neither team get any real momentum out of it. But Philly get the win. I've said a lot that Philly still play like Philly. It's just they've, had some bad results. It's insane how many results they've had just go terribly, their way. And I was looking through some of their lineup decisions throughout the year, and it's like, it really is just a team that has just cratered a lot of their talent, right? Ezekiel Alado is not him. I mean, even the backline additions, Finn Sundstrom hasn't even done anything since his first start. Geiner Martinez, like these are guys that we're like, and I think Jeremy, you said it best. This is God, what's his name? I already forgot his name. This is the GM trying to do his best to get a little to find a little diamond in the rough again. But
he's chasing the high. Ernst is chasing the high. He can no longer he can no longer abuse his own staff. So he just has to go and chase his fix somewhere else. And it's just signing it's first of all getting rid of veteran leaders and veteran players who have been on multiple editions of good Philly teams, both under Curtin and under in last year's Supporter Shields winners under Carnell, and trying to replace them immediately with a bunch of young talent, which doesn't really all fit together. I mean, parts of it do. Like Jaffet Sari Larson is in the front runner for signing of the season for Philly. He isn't very good, but he's certainly the one that's been able to settle the best. But then there's also Carnell who you have to deal with, which is going into year number 2 with a guy who history has said that year number 2 isn't going to be very bright. And Tanner still decided to give him entirely new pieces this offseason. Just unserious moves. I don't know if this is more tragic than Montreal, considering that Philly did enter this year as the reigning Shield champions, and for the second year in a row, we have a defending trophy holder just completely shitting the bed to start the season. It was really funny last year with the Galaxy, and guess what? It's still funny with Philadelphia this year. So I'm liking this new trend. I'm looking to see which team is going to be brave enough to do this next year. But yeah, I think their best performance of the season was away at Club America and CONCACAF Champions League. They didn't advance, but they weren't expected to. and Kevin Sullivan looked pretty good in that game, and he's barely played since. So there's a lot of Bradley being weird, and then Ernst just sitting up there. Well, he can't really sit in the stadium anymore. He's still on leave. But I imagine sitting at his home watching his team play and being like, this is what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. Look at all these young idiots who aren't very good at this, but they're going to get better. Trust me, this is like my last shot I'm throwing into the wind. So congratulations to the Philadelphia Union. Honestly, you've been a pure source of entertainment for me, and I'm sure the wider purveyors of the league as well.
Josh, when you're looking at Philadelphia and I guess their rest of season, what are you projecting? What does the weatherman say there for them?
How can we use Cabin the best while we still have him? He's going to be like a traveling circus act, I think, for the rest of Philadelphia's season. You take him to every game. You show up. You show up to every game with Kevin, and you have him go out there and dance around, and be that spark. Maybe you'll get a couple of wins out of it against some lesser teams, but for the most part, this Philadelphia team just isn't clicking the way it needs to. Maybe that'll happen after the World Cup. I don't foresee there being a lot of World Cup turnover for Philly, but this was always going to happen. I mean, Carnell's second season, plus losing Kai Wagner, plus Michael Ura, losing Baribo as well. Like, this was always going to be the case. So I don't think it's like too out of the ordinary, especially they just didn't replace well. And this is what happens with a Bradley Carnell team. So Kevin Sullivan, circus act. Here we go for the rest of the season. Go out there and entertain the masses.
You don't get Kevin Sullivan though. You get Ben Bender, and you will like Ben Bender. That thoroughly made me angry because we're doing this thing now for Kickbase where we're doing editors picks, and one of my long shot darts was Kevin Sullivan, and I said, because remember I between Alida and Damiani, which they killed that song, guys. We've not been able to sing that in a minute, and I don't even want to entertain it with where they're at right now. But between them, 0 shots on target. So I'm like, all right, get Alosky up there, but who plays in that right wing spot that Alosky is leaving? I'm like, it should be Kevin Sullivan. And I've said before on the pod, like, young talent in this league. This is the year of the young talent. And I just don't, for the life of me, understand why you have a generational young talent in Kevin Sullivan and you're not playing him. Like everywhere else, nearly every other team has a young guy that they are like, getting minutes out of. The better teams have figured out which one of not everyone except Atlanta, of course, but like the best teams in the league kind of have that one youth guy that is like just kind of like, we think about Nico Sakiris, think about like Lucas Harrington. I mean, Kevin Kelsey, I'll throw them out, like just youth guys that you're building around, right? And those guys don't even touch what heights that Kevin is projected to get, right? So very upsetting to see Philadelphia just kind of toil away with a player like Kevin. But any other thoughts on Philly, or do we want to move on to Orlando? Let's move on.
We've spent so much time on Philly this year already, just laughing at them, and I don't think we spent enough time laughing at Orlando yet. So,
well, that reminds me. Do you guys remember the Joseph Orlando? You guys remember that video? No. Oh my God. Do you know this, Jeremy?
It does ring a bell in my mind. I'm gonna need something else to jog my memory.
Oh my God! It's this. God, it's it's just Orlando. It's just the Joseph Martinez back when he was prime Atlanta, when he would always score in Orlando. It's just him laughing like in the background, just Orlando, and that's how I always think about Orlando now. Another team that also sacked their head coach, Poppy, gone early in the season, of course, and then in comes Orlando while he lays on the couch. Yep. See, my homie here knows. But guys, I can't even tell you the current Orlando interim. Like that is how much Orlando I am just like not even really paying attention to. They almost came away with a win on the road against Columbus, but overall between like I think Paslich and Ojeda, it's two of the same guys playing out there. It's the issue that Austin have in the fact that they have Uzuni and Ramirez now as like these two target forwards, and they're like, yeah, no one's going to create for them. Like who's creating for Orlando right now? I mean, I think they're betting it's going to be Griezmann, right? But I don't think Griezmann's the kind to like drop for the ball, receive it, and then make moves. And I think that gets lost on me a lot of the times is that Griezmann's coming to MLS, but he's coming to one of the most shocking teams right now when it comes to just playing defense, playing any sort of, and golly, I want to point to Robin Jansen because they still have not conceded any goals when he's playing. And I know he only played about 70 minutes or something, but Josh, I'm gonna go to you, man. What's Orlando doing, bro?
Well, I know you just talked about this one, but I am baffled by the decision to go out and get Griezmann while their midfield is as atrocious as it's been. Looking at that LAFC game, I think that was a perfect encapsulation of how easily teams have been able to bypass Orlando's midfield. Atuesta does not look like the same player that he was last year. They've got that draft pick in, that young kid, I forget his name.
Guski. No, wait, not Guski.
Tyrese Spicer?
Say that again, one?
Tyrese Spicer?
No, not Tyrese Spicer. No, it was like I think you were right with the first one, Jeremy. I think was he the one that got sent off against Miami?
Yes.
Oh, Guski.
Yeah, Guski. Yeah. So I think like he's obviously learning the ropes. You would expect like Atuesta to kind of be the guy to teach him like that, but it's been slow going. So I think that midfield is what needed to be addressed. Really, they needed to go out and get a more dynamic, like an 8 player, or because like you said, I think that they have too many issues with that right wing spot. Like they had too many issues at striker last year. That seems to be Orlando's roster build is they have too many issues and in one position of the field, and they're lacking in quality in the other positions. I think that is an encapsulation of their problem, and it's all kind of come to a head this year. Also, of course, they lost some veteran guys that I don't think can be. It cannot be overstated how important their presence was in the locker room. Pedro Galese, Schlegel, players like that have been around the organization for a long enough time to really understand what it's like to be an Orlando City player, what it's like to go through the rough times that they've been through, to see it all the way through to these Open Cup finals or these MLS Cup runs. Like they got unlucky to miss out on MLS Cup when the Galaxy won, really. So they should have won that game. That was probably Orlando's season that was probably this Orlando window's chance. That was their championship window, was that playoff loss against the Red Bulls. That was probably the height of what they expected to do. So now they're in a rebuild stage, and I don't think they have the veteran presence. They have fired the coach to lead them through it. They've got Griezmann coming in with a lot of expectation, but he's a guy that hasn't been in MLS, and he's a guy that's going to have to adapt to the league, especially a league that will be after the World Cup. It'll be really condensed near the end, in the back end of the season. So I don't think they haven't made the right moves. They haven't brought in the right guys at the right time. I'd love to see Pasalic be more of like an 8. I think that he could be like a creative 8 for them. And then it completely leaves that right wing open. It allows for them to have that more creative presence in the midfield. It allows for Atuesta to not have to focus so much on being a creative center, but instead on like cutting up play, being more defensively solid. because he's just getting older. So that's just what tends to happen with players like him, is that they focus more on like the defensive side of things. So I think that if I'm Orlando right now, I'm thinking, let's move past to the 8. Let's try it there. We might lose some of that creativity in his spot. We might still be defensively fragile, but at least we're making the right moves and we're making the changes that I think fans need to see. I also just don't like that we're giving Griezmann the last years of his career to a guy that was putting out training cones a month ago. I just hate that. I hate when that shit happens. You know, it was like Pirlo at Juventus with Ronaldo with his last few years in Europe. So that's where I'm at.
And that guy is
BJ Callahan. I know who it is. I want to see if y'all could get it first.
Martin
Perlman.
Sure, man. I guess, bro.
I think, okay, honestly, I'm gonna be honest. My knowledge of head coaches has gone down tremendously, just due to the fact that like at my last job, it was very important whenever a coach got fired, and like the job really wanted to know, like, were the players really playing for the coach? Was the coach like unjustly fired? Like all this stuff, right? So, I mean, Martin Perlman, like he's one of these other guys you just add to like the list of like FM manager regens. Like honestly, like I would see that guy and be like, sure, Martin Perlman, give him a contract. I don't know, whatever. But Jeremy, any Orlando thoughts? I know you still upset that they have your guy Martin Ojeda, but I want to shout out you because I remember, I think this was the off-season pod, like the first one we did back, and I was like, you know what, like there's something about Orlando City. I think, you know, like they still got this team. You know what I mean? Like I was still very much like maybe Orlando City's got something, you know. And then you made the observation they never replaced Alex Freeman. And then I did some digging. I was like, you know what? Jeremy's right. I cannot just assume Orlando is going to be good again. And if I have these other Eastern Conference teams I'm really high on, one Eastern Conference team from last season's got to drop down below, right? But Jeremy, any Orlando thoughts throughout the season here? And what do you make of them for the upcoming rest of the season?
The irony is, at the time, I was very concerned they hadn't replaced Alex Freeman, and I think it was like the next day they swung that trade for Griffin Dorsey, and I was like, "Oh, okay," and that still seems like the smartest thing they've done off season, the entire off season. Like, you let Cesar Araujo go, and that's a huge hole in the midfield. Cartagena's been hurt again, so that's luck. That's bad luck. Same thing with Janssen being hurt. That's also bad luck. But this has been a terrible offseason for them. Like, I make fun of Iago every time we get out here, every time we come on this show, and I'm like, I feel bad because he's just a boy. But at the same time, like, man, this is the U20s captain for the Brazilian national team. Like that is a spot of prestige still, especially among the wider regarded youth national teams in the world. And that's a Brazil national team that's produced the likes of literally pick a European star. So being captain of that squad still carries a lot of weight in my mind. But he's been dreadful. Maxime Crépeau has been dreadful, like hilariously dreadful at times, which, I mean, no disrespect to Maxime Crépeau, but like it seems like you have Canadian goalkeepers who just do not want to start this World Cup. None of them have really put their best foot forward and said, I am my country's number one, ahead of the biggest tournament in Canadian soccer history. So I look at Orlando, and today they beat FC Naples in the Open Cup.
Yeah, come on. You suck. You suck.
Okay, was that? I didn't know whether or not that was in reaction to Joss's excellent notion of Milan Borjan starting more games for them at this World Cup. I thoroughly agree with. I don't know what form he's in, but he's certainly better than the rest of the Canadian goalkeepers.
Bring out the sweatpants.
But yeah, they beat FC Naples 1-0. They got outshot 20-17 in this game. Naples doubled the amount of shots they put on target compared to Orlando City. And yeah, Orlando, you're not hosting this game, but come on, man. Come on. Just embarrassing. It really is. And I feel like they're going to hire their permanent head coach at the World Cup, like during the World Cup break. I don't know what it's going to do for them. But if there's one thing I do know, it's that the East is certainly mid enough for Orlando to get a couple of healthy players, sign a goddamn defensive midfielder and another center back, figure out if you need another goalkeeper. I think you'll be fine if you stick with Kripo. Like, honestly, a lot of the goals he's given up this year have just been like through no fault of his own. It's just that there's no one in front of him. So it just turns into 1v1s aside from, carrying the ball outside the box in New York City. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what their summer business is going to look like. I don't think they're as bad as their record, but it's really, really hard to look at 18 goals conceded, which is the most in the league so far, and say, yeah, I feel like they could improve it. They can.
I have a name for you guys. Matias Almeida.
That'd be fun. That would be fun.
No, come on now. Come on.
I think it'd be fun. I think they should go get Mascherano. How funny would that be?
Ooh, now that's fun.
Now
that is fun.
The season of X's. He doesn't even have to move that far, bro. Like,
just walk over to the Inter and Co Stadium, and he's like, "This is Inter Miami, right?"
Yeah, for real. There's a job, bro. There's a job to be done.
Hey, man, plenty of jobs out there in the MLS market. There's the Miami gig, the Orlando gig, the Montreal gig, and one gig that is kind of a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe too early now, but Orlando went to Naples, and sure, they got outshot, but they at least won. Okay. Now this team went to Colorado Springs, got outshot and lost. Oh my Lord. It's time, Joss. It's looking a lot like last season where you get your one win against a Western Conference team. When do you play the Galaxy again?
Fuck if I know, bro. Dude, let me get through Friday. We go to Vancouver. Okay? They might actually start like saying this is a war crime for what Brian White will do to this back line. If I may present you with a stat. Sporting KC's per game XG differential is minus 1.7.
Oh no!
Per game.
Last year, the DC Spoon winning side minus 0.32. The famously bad Cincinnati side minus 0.82. The worst Chivas side minus 0.80. Guys,
man, on pace.
At what point do we start killing people? At what point do we start boiling Raphael Wiki in motor oil? At what point? What point do we hashtag sell Shopee to Cambodia, bro? Like, at what point? You can only push these guys so far. And I'll say this. Listen, I'm not. Listen, I don't want to rant. Okay, this is not a Sporting KC show.
No, you should rant though. What I will say. Last night was
diabolical. You don't do that as a Kansas City side. Who was the Open Cup named after?
Lamar Hunt.
Lamar, he is royalty in this part of the country. He's the reason the Chiefs are here. He is the reason Sporting KC are here. To go out and to put on a performance like that is inconceivable. It is not comparable to like SKC sides of the past. We've always been a team that has at least pretended to take it seriously. We made the Cup final a couple of years ago, and that was, I think, on paper, a worse Sporting KC side. That was an Alan Polito-less Sporting KC side. That was a Gadi Kinda-less Sporting KC side. Our best player was Eric Tommy. Like, Andre Ufantas was getting minutes at his big age. Like, that was an outrageously bad Sporting KC side, and we made the final. We had to beat MLS sides to get there. To go out in the first round is diabolical enough. To go out in the manner that we did, where it looks like we didn't care, that is frustrating beyond all frustrating. Okay, I must say it is not forgivable. Okay, I don't think you can blame Rafael Wiki for that. He went out there and put a pretty strong 11 out. I think the only player who could come in was realistically Manu Garcia, but everybody else was pretty strong and pretty close to being first choice. I think Jansen Miller is probably down there a little more now. But for the most part, that's pretty much first choice. And then to go out there and lose the way you did, not even trying to put up a fight, misplacing passes out of the back, the defending on the third goal is the kind of shit you'd see in a horror movie. That's the kind of shit that you'd show Diego Simeone to give him nightmares. Like, please don't watch it because it is unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was watching. So I am just at a loss for words. And I have people on social media adding, obviously, the Wizards saying, "What are you guys going to do about it?" Fuck am I supposed to do about it? What? What do you mean? Like, sorry, I don't choose the team. Sorry, I don't make the player seemingly not care. Like, what do you want me to do about it? I could be like you at Barstool SKC and post a meme once a year. Would that be better? What you do? No. So I'm at a loss for words. I am dreading what we're going to see out of Vancouver, what Vancouver are going to do to us. It could be a sixer, like, honestly. So yeah, that's where I'm at. It was just a really, really bad performance, and a really bad performance coming off the back of multiple really bad performances.
Man, I that was beautiful in all the worst ways. That was beautiful. I do want to say though, like, man, it's such a 180 from where you were at when they signed David Lee, and you know what I mean. It was this because I can't help but think that my homie did not turn in his homework, because even leading up to the season, like you know what I mean, like it was a very, very thin squad. Like, there was only 18 players on the roster in the first week, 4 of them being goalkeepers. So then, you know, you get Wyatt Meyer in there towards the end. You sign a Jaden Reed. It's like, okay, there's some players there, but like, it wasn't like Jaden Reed or Wyatt Meyer were the guys that, you know, were like, they were always depth everywhere they'd been. So, and then you get like a Lassie Berg Johnson, and I think Lassie Berg is okay. It's a shame though, because like, I think he needs to be more than okay for this SKC team to like crawl out of this. Capita, we still haven't seen Capita. He did start in this match against the Springs. I don't think they started against San Jose, if I'm correct. Yeah, no. So I mean, we're still trying to see some Capita minutes. Maybe he helps them out, but Jeremy, what are you seeing from SKC, man? Any SKC thoughts on your end here, or did Joss pretty much sum it up pretty well?
The real cup set wasn't that they lost. The cup set was that they lost in that fashion. So if we're defining cup set as, magic of the cup, completely unexpected outcome, like, I fully expected this game to at least go to extra time, and I honestly thought the Switchbacks were going to win the entire time. That's how bad SKC is. But to lose like that, as Joss has said, for a team that does take the Open Cup very seriously, brutal, absolutely brutal. But you can't fire anyone because this is the most. Yeah, it's the most tear down to the studs rebuild that's going on in MLS right now. So you have to deal with some of the growing pains. Like when you were listing all those terrible teams earlier with as it related to expected goal differential, like those Cincinnati teams were trying, those Chivas teams were allegedly trying. DC kind of trying. They still have Benteke. They were this close to the playoffs the year before. So, and we're not going to talk about Montreal because we already did. But this SKC team is just trying to get the pieces in for next year right now. And it's going to result in a ton of suffering this year. But that's okay because next year, a full year – well, second season Capita, second season Lossie Bird Johnson. We've gotten this far without mentioning Orblorian yet. So
the pod racer, bro.
The pod racer.
Or.
Like
or what?
I feel like there are still parts of this team that I really like, one of whom is Manu Garcia, because I believe at his I think his MLS ceiling is like a seriously good chance creator. For one, Dejan Joveljic, who's still going to keep finding ways to get goals because that's what he did last year on a bad SKC team. Yeah, I mean, there are still players here that I really like. The problem is like all of them are young. All of them need a little bit more experience, but that's what this entire season is. It's just getting the experience there. So David Lee, when he goes into the summer transfer window and next year's winter transfer window, really seeing which positions he has to strengthen at, which is tough as a sporting director to really assess that because sometimes you end up recruiting over some of the positions that you might already have a guy at. I hope David Lee's going to be a little smarter with this, but as of right now, you just got to lock in and just enjoy the suffering, and you'll come back to this season in 2029, the spring of 2029 after the schedule switch, when you guys just make the wild card spot and you think, hey, remember in 2026 when this team just stunk, when we were absolutely awful, and now we get to host a wild card game against like Sacramento. Yeah, that's where you're going to be thinking. You're going to be like, God, we've really come from the trenches. And to be fair, it's going to take a while to get rid of the Pieber Vermees influence. It really is. This roster is still pretty Vermees coded aside from a couple of these new signings. And sometimes you gotta be patient. You're going to stink this year. You're going to be the worst team in the West. That's fine. Just try and ruin everybody else's season, most notably St. Louis. That's just what you get.
I think also a part to really think about is Peter Maluk coming in as the new majority shareholder, boosting Sporting KC's valuation up to like fucking 7th in the whole league, something like that. So, yeah, I think that is also so. He replied, shout out Carrie Robinson. He replied to her and said, "We will turn this around," like today on Twitter.
Come on.
So what? Mo Salah, you're gonna love barbecue, brother. Welcome to MLS. They're both Egyptian, so I'm not just saying Mo Salah. I'm saying that because they're both Egyptian. But I hate that I have to struggle now. But good thing there's video evidence of it. So when we eventually win MLS Cup sponsored by ChatGPT in 2032, we'll have video evidence that I was there in the trenches. So
no, it was AI. It was AI.
Chill.
It was AI, actually.
You think ChatGPT is lasting until 2032? Okay, but yeah, I mean, see, there are reasons to be optimistic. There are. It's just that this year is gonna absolutely suck. So make it suck for everybody else. That's the thing that I love that's the thing I love about this team. Like, would it be? Are you guys going to win in Vancouver this weekend? No, but you can make it a pain in the ass for them. Just get out there and try and kick the shit out of them. Not like actually.
I wish. It just we haven't we didn't try last night, so it's hard for me to think about how we would try in Vancouver. But I guess we'll fucking see.
I'm putting the bet on SKC now, money line. Let's go.
Plus
fellas,
1,500, is it? Something like that.
Is it actually?
That's a crazy number if that's the case. I do want to throw up this one from Lakpa. I know we were talking a lot about SKC there, but we already had thoughts on Griezmann. We'll come back to the Rapids question here when we get to the Rapids section. Just wanted to throw it up there for Lakpa. Let's move on though to Atlanta United. Atlanta United. I think Atlanta is like, here's the thing. Kansas City, Orlando, Philly, Montreal, all fun to watch still. All very much must see MLS TV. Atlanta, I'm done. I don't want to watch Atlanta anymore.
You're out.
I'm out. I fell for it again. I'm willing to say it. I fell for it. But guys, like, I'm gonna go to Jeremy because he's who I have here listed for the assigned match over the weekend. But God, Atlanta stinks, guys. Atlanta stinks. Like, and not in a like, oh, we're Austin, we're just gonna play against the ball because it's like our only thing we can do. Or like the other four teams we mentioned that are just comically bad. Atlanta's just meh. Jeremy, thoughts on Atlanta?
Okay. I don't want to take a look at their result from this last weekend because it completely goes against the point I was going to make. And therefore, it's not good for my own personal agenda. And that point is they were very unlucky that this game only ended 1-0. They created several good chances, but Chris Brady, in his particularly like notable fashion, said, "I'm going to be a match winner today." And he ended up being that match winner. So that's huge for them. They were very unlucky to escape this game. They probably deserved a point at least or better. But also, they're the only team in the league to have good fucking God. Latte laugh. We need to let that marinate for a second because at one point he was the MLS record signing. He held that for like 6 months, and then Son Heung-min came in, and it was all cool and good because Latte Lath was no longer pressured with I am the big record signing. I'm going to have to do everything. When in reality, it's a scouting failure bringing him in. Like, when you bring in a guy like Giakoumakis, now I know it's a little different era of Atlanta team, but Giakoumakis wasn't like a straight-up poacher and a straight-up channel runner the way Latte Lath is. And when I was looking at this Atlanta build, particularly last year, when I got duped last year, unlike Waters, wait a minute,
Bless you.
Jeremy Dab.
When I looked at this Atlanta build this year, I said, what really has changed from last year? The only thing that changed was Tata. And Waters bought in. I did not. I said there are much bigger issues than just having a man at the head coaching position, which, by the way, speaking of which, I'd be remiss if I didn't do this already. But there's a coaching vacancy at Inter Miami. Gaffarani has not lost at Maccabi Tel Aviv. Got to go for him.
Really? Gaffarani at Miami?
Gaffarani at Miami. But once again, like, I think between Gaffarani and Tata, you can see that this roster has been terribly constructed, which is not something you'd expect from a Garth Lagerwey team. And when they had all the windfall of cash from Almada, Wiley, Yakimakis, all of those sales. And the first signing there was Moranchuk. And they just did they just went for big spending. The roster hasn't made any sense. And now you have a team that's just painful to watch, painful to pay attention to. And Atlanta wants to be on the level of an LAC or Miami. They in 2017, they kind of set the tone for like the new instant expansion team that's going to try and compete instantaneously. Like NYCFC didn't do that. Orlando didn't do that. Like they were ready from the jump to compete. And ever since, like they peaked in their second season and they haven't been able to get anywhere close since. So I think this summer has to be the summer of reckoning. It has to be Latte Lath, see if someone will take him. See if someone will take him, except like $5 million. Because there is enough of a player in there for someone to pay like $5 to $10 million for him, because he's still quality. He wasn't amazing in the championship, but he was fine. And like get him to a team that's just gonna feed him all the damn time, not this team. Play more of these young players. I want to see more Cooper Sanchez. I want to see more Johnny Fortune. I want to see more Luke Brennan. Like Caleb Wiley has been their biggest success story this decade from a development standpoint. If you want to get more of those players and be able to sell these types of players on, you gotta fucking play them. So I remain completely uninspired by Atlanta. I think that they are absolutely hilarious, a joke of a club, and they are the most irrelevant team in the league right now, more than anything. Like, because at least we get to talk about Montreal because they're firing their head coach and stuff like that. Like SKC, you're tracking how bad they are and seeing how – sorry, Joss. But, like, you're tracking to see how much their awfulness is going to keep going throughout the season. Like, Orlando has conceded 24 goals already. I said 18 earlier. That was their goal differential, negative 18. Not how many goals they've conceded. It's even worse. So there are interesting things to track. And Atlanta's just straight up, flat out bad, and they're really boring about it. So that's all I have to say about Atlanta. How much is their game from this past weekend enough of a, like, oh, like maybe they're getting better because they were actually able to consistently create good chances in this? I don't know, man. I look at the other games before then, and I don't see anything worth like getting exciting about. I don't. Like, good performances are the outlier for this team. Because I look at them the week before, and they're getting spanked by a Columbus team, which we'll get to them. A Columbus team also doesn't look inspiring at all, too. God.
If I may, since May 28, 2025, Atlanta have 2 MLS wins.
Glorious.
Look at Juan, bro. Look at him. Look at him.
For real?
That's what their subreddit says, dude. I trust that shit with my life, bro.
Man, there's got to be May 2025?
Yeah.
2 MLS wins. I mean,
this
one of them.
Supposed to be Jaden Hibbert's year too. And
Oh my god, I don't get why they haven't. Oh my. Talk about another freaking and that's kind of why I maybe have fell for it, because I didn't think I saw Lucas Hoyos come in and I should have known that this was what Tata was going to do. He's going to play his freaking Argentine boy instead of Jaden Hibbert, who and oh my god, it's a correct stat. They've only had 2 MLS wins.
One of them was against Nashville.
Yeah, one of them was against Nashville.
No way.
God, no, this is we're about to come to a whole calendar year and they've only had 2 MLS wins. Man, that is that's enough Atlanta, guys. I'm good. I'm gonna stay with Jeremy here because he's got St. Louis, a bit more of an interesting team. Still no Falou fall, still no Mbake fall. I'm a little bit perplexed there. I'm just kind of patiently waiting for them to get their minutes because I do quite like them. Well, I can't really say if I like them, right? Because I haven't really seen them play. But Jaziel Orozco, Timo Baumgartel, and Polvara, the back line, they've been kind of the three there. Thoughts, Jeremy, on St. Louis so far this season? Starting to get away from the basement teams and more of these like there's something there kind of teams, you know?
Yeah, there definitely is something there with St. Louis. But before Joss is here, I have to be mean to St. Louis really quickly just to appease him and also appease myself because I don't really like St. Louis that much. But I kind of am seeing the vision this year so far. However, 2 years ago in Leagues Cup, they were at the forefront of the hashtag like Save the Open Cup, blah 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 blah, all that stuff. Which it's worthy cause and everything, but they made a point of not going to Leagues Cup games. Their fans did, and so tonight when they beat FC Tulsa 4-0 at home, easily their best win of the season, very convincing. Not a score line that I expected, but definitely a result I expected, as in like St. Louis wins. Tons of empty seats at their glittering new stadium. So congratulations to St. Louis fans for that. You really care about this competition, guys. I'm sure you do.
I think they saved the Open Cup, Jeremy. They don't need to show up anymore. The Open Cup is saved.
Ooh, true. Big Morgan Freeman true on that. Are you guys aware that St. Louis is 3 matches unbeaten in the league, now 4 matches overall?
Yeah, they've stabilized after New York City.
Yeah, and that if we go back to a 2-0 loss against LAFC, probably the most unlucky result they've suffered this year. They were very unlucky not to score a goal in that game, and they allowed 2 outside-the-box beggars to Matthew Schwann-Air in that game. Guys, I'm starting to see it. And they're doing it without both the falls. They haven't gotten Mbake. They haven't gotten Falou on the field yet.
No Lowen either.
Yeah, no Lewin. Like, they've had to deal with personal tragedy this year because an event like that, it does affect the entire team. It should be like affecting the entire league too. Like, it's just tragic what's happened to what Edward Leuven has had to go through over the past few years. But if we go to this past weekend, besides allowing Lucius Dietzen to score his first MLS goal, reach. They were good value for a draw in Dallas, one of the best teams in the West, at least at the start of the season. And that's a very good Western Conference, a Western Conference that's far better than the Eastern Conference to start out this year. So I think in terms of their weaknesses, I'm still not convinced by their forwards. I really am not. I think it's a huge blow that Cilio Pompeu tore his ACL. That's really, really, really unlucky. He was their most dynamic wide player because I count Hartel as more of a 10 nowadays. But especially the way he plays in Yohan Dame's system. They're playing the closest thing to Nancy ball in the league right now, which, I mean, makes sense considering that, Yohan Dame is a Nancy disciple at some point. But they're doing this at their 2 best center backs. It isn't the best use of a roster slot, given a DP slot to a goalkeeper. But, I mean, that goalkeeper's Roman Berkey, sure, fine. As Joss loves to say, it's really funny that they made him a DP before Corey Ray got in there. But there's a lot to like about this team. They're interesting. They're young. They're getting better. And I'm starting to see a tangible identity here, which is something that St. Louis, for a large part, have lacked since Carnell left. What was Carnell any good in his second season? We've already covered this. No, he hasn't. But they did have a defined identity. They did know what they wanted to do. but they've had 2 interims to close out the last 2 seasons, and their previous head coaching hire was a disaster. I love you, Olaf, though. You did not get enough time in St. Louis. I thought Olaf deserved the season just so they could challenge for the spoon. So, St. Louis, I'm a little more optimistic, but it is early, and there are still holes in this roster. I don't see them as like fully playoff quality yet, but definitely a team I'm keeping an eye on for the sprint season. I'll tell you what.
Hey, man, if I can just get a bunch of Bundesliga 2 guys and press the hell out of the MLS, we'd win MLS Cup, bro. Like, is that easy? Josh, do you want to touch on St. Louis, or do you want to move on to Austin?
I'll touch on St. Louis so I can go wash my hands later. Sorry. No, I think Jeremy's right. And I think the biggest credit that we can give St. Louis is that they're currently flying under the radar. They've got it figured out in a way that keeps them under the radar a little bit. They're not like in their inaugural season, their best season in MLS, where they shot to the top of the standings and they wouldn't let anybody forget about it. They're flying under the radar a little bit. I think that the fans have acclimated a little bit to the league because they realize that oftentimes karma comes back to bite them in the form of a playoff loss against your 8-seed rival. So I think St. Louis, their biggest quality right now is that they're underrated. They're flying under the radar enough to where they can continue to just be a very distinct a team still developing their style this early on in the season, have a distinct style of play, pick up points where they need to get. They're going to have some unlucky losses against some of the best teams in the West, but that for a team that like has shot way down in expectations since that first season, I think that St. Louis are, to their credit, doing things correctly and realizing that MLS is not really a league where you're going to consistently be at the top. I mean, look at Philadelphia this season, look at LA Galaxy last season. But if you can manage to ride the ebbs and flows and be built in a way that lets you capitalize on your windows of opportunity that will open up if you do things correctly, then you will be a successful team in this league. This feels like
take us to Austin, man.
The other MLS team to lose in the Open Cup. Let's not forget, lest we forget, Austin FC lost to Louisville City at home.
Yes. It would 10 billion times funnier than SKC losing.
They lost at home in the Open Cup. Austin FC, do not forget, they were Cup finalists last year. They were Mitchell Uzuni, him just locking in for 30 minutes, performance away from lifting their first piece of silverware in their history. And they lost to a USL club. So let's not forget, Austin FC. What about them? Much of the same from last season, I think. Brandon Vasquez, he's still hurt, isn't he? Brandon Vasquez?
Yep.
Yeah. Still hurt, unfortunately, for the guy. So that's sad. I mean, it feels like those days where he was getting USMNT call-ups are far kind of beyond where he was. You know, they're way in the past. They feel like a different century. But let's not forget, like, he was pushing players like Ricardo Pepi or Josh Sargent. He was pushing them for USMNT spots. So unfortunate for Brandon Vasquez. Their front three last night, Gilberto Uzuni, Facundo Torres, and who was the third one?
Nelson? I didn't see
it was Nelson. It was Nelson. Yep. Their front three last night, not that good. Not that good. They still struggle to score. And if I'm looking at this club, I'm looking at that right wing spot. I'm looking at Facundo Torres. He is not the creator that I think that they're trying to make him. He is all in his time in Orlando, he was always a move finisher, never a move starter. And that he got double-digit goals and assists doing that. Like, he was always kind of like the final pass to a goal, or he was the guy scoring the goal, but he was never like the guy orchestrating from deep or anything. It was never like a through pass or a guy who starts the play 40 yards from goal. No, it was the guy making the right choice because Parejo's coaching had him consistently in those positions to have the highest impact. And I don't think Austin FC have realized how to use him yet. I think that when Brandon Vasquez is back, I think this team would be decent in a 4-4-2. Let's get it back to basics, man. Let's get the guys Brandon Vasquez and Mirto Uzuni. If you want to get a little funny with it, have Mirto Uzuni play a little bit off of Vasquez, but just get him in the box. Get the guys who can score the goals into the box. Okay, Austin's defense, to their credit, it's very decent. They don't concede a lot. Their problem is they don't score a lot. So they have the most boring games that you'll ever find. Let's not forget this LAFC side that are running rampant. Austin held them to a 0-0 draw not too long ago, like a month ago, right? Let's not forget that. Like that's a very positive performance, and it is Austin FC for the last couple of years in a nutshell. Probably ever since they kind of sold Driussi, that's been Austin FC in a nutshell. They won't score, but it'll be hard for your team to break them down. And so I think when Brandon Vasquez is hopefully back, let's get him in a 4-4-2. Like, remember how good Vasquez was when partnered with Brenner? Let's get back to basics, man. Let's throw two up top and just see what happens. See all the chances that can fall their way. Have Facundo play a little closer as well to that team. Get him in the right positions. But I just think that's the issue, is that they don't have enough move finishers healthy or starting for them right now.
Yeah, I mean, go for it, Jeremy.
Yep. You just said get Vasquez back to like when he was partnered with Brenner in Cincinnati. Do you know who he had with him? It wasn't just Vasquez and Brenner in that Cincinnati team, Joss. It was Luciano Acosta. You know, Austin is the funniest team in the league to me, because it's been so clear for so many years that they've never had a true number 10. They haven't had a playmaking number 10. They had Driussi, who was a box crasher. It was just able to get on the end of service, but they never had that playmaker. And they're waiting on Owen Wolf to get back, and they're like, oh, like they're still relying on Owen Wolf to settle everything. It's not gonna happen. It just isn't gonna fucking happen.
It could though.
It could, but it's not going to. Like,
I think it is.
Like I'm. Austin has only won one game this year. They beat DC United 1-0 at home. Congratulations to them. That's the one game they've won. They've already been knocked out of Open Cup. Like, Torres, to his credit, has not been a bad player this year. He hasn't really been a bad guy, but he's also not what Austin needed at all.
I'm the bad guy. Duh.
You're the bad guy? Fair enough. I just believe that they're just so disgusting. It's such a disgusting team. I think it's a disgusting franchise. They were born out of Precourt's desire to get a team there, and they nearly killed the Columbus Crew for this team to exist. Like, I find so many things about Austin FC just so abhorrent, and they match it by playing the most despicable soccer I've ever seen. It's just what it is. Joseph Rosales is your starting left winger. Are you kidding me, bro? Like, it's levels of diabolical with this Austin team. And I think Estevez has to be on the hot seat already, more than anything. Like, Burrell has not done them any favors with this roster build, but there's like kind of a path forward. There kind of is. That they know that they just have to be defensively nasty and a block in order to stand any chance in this game, because they're not going to score a goal. Oh no, man. Oh no. And also, really quickly, they were very unlucky not to beat LAFC earlier this year. I still maintain that Mirto Uzuni's goal was not offside, and that Ilie was not interfering with Hugo Lloris. He did find himself back into an onside position. The margin was not clear and obvious. It was not able to be overturned. So They probably should have 2 wins this year. However, they do not, because that was basically the only chance they created that game. They're just despicable. They're absolutely despicable. But like, they're fascinatingly despicable. They're not Atlanta. They're not irrelevant. You still have to pay attention to what Austin is doing.
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to be screaming and kicking a little bit, clawing a little bit, but that's much like Austin, right? It's just, yeah. I don't have much Austin thoughts. I mean, they're they're like worse than Atletico Madrid when it comes to like just behind the ball play. It's like I think Simeone could learn a thing or two from Estevez. Maybe if Estevez had a better roster, it'd be a bit more conducive, but. I want to move on to Columbus Crew, who unfortunately we had the news. Wissam Abu Ali has torn his ACL, and now it really feels like this Columbus team has just cratered in any amount of top end talent. Diego Rossi is still really, really good, and credit to Columbus for like riding. Because I want to take us back to the year they won MLS Cup. This is a year where they sold Zelarayan, and it was like, oh, how are we ever gonna like function without Zelarayan? In comes
replace him.
In comes Diego Rossi, and like Rossi ends up like bossing out and being that player for them, and they go on win MLS Cup. It's like, damn, Columbus are cooking. Nancy's here cooking. Darlington Nagbe, some of the best minutes of still like in the twilight of his career cooking. You get rid of all of that. Now it's just Rossi. There's no Cucho. There's no Nagbe. There's no because remember last season it was always like, well, how are they going to replace Cucho? How are they going to do this? They go out and get Wissam Abu Ali in the middle of the summer last year, and it's like, okay, they got their Cucho, but then you lose Nancy, you lose Nagbe, you lose now Abu Ali, and it's like, man, like who it's not like they have an identity either. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of vibing with the 4-4-2, and then now I'm like, they may be truly cooked. They oh my god, DC lost. We'll get to DC in a bit, but sorry, Jeremy just typed in the chat, but Columbus Crew guys, like the fact that they're behind Cincy, DCU, New England, Toronto says a lot about where Columbus is at right now. Vibes are very I won't say they're at their lowest, because at their lowest it was a save the crew movement, you know what I mean? But we saved the crew for them to be at this position now. Fellas, Columbus Crew. Anyone want to lead off on the original yellow team of the league? I
do, because Diego Rossi was my kick-based captain this week, and he won me my matchup. Thank you, Diego Rossi. Shout out Kickbase. Sponsored. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there now. I hope I just got you in a bunch of legal trouble, Juan. I hope I got you in a bunch of legal trouble just now. I hope you get a call tomorrow from your boss, like, "Hey, we're not sponsored, right?" So Columbus are an interesting case study in how to maneuver your team into different formations from 3-back to 4-back and really not change very much. You can play a 3-back to try and to finally try and unlock Gazdag, who has been locked away somewhere. You can play a 3-back and play him as like a box crashing 10 when really all he should be there for are taking penalties. You can try to play a 4-back and get Abu Ali and Diego Rossi into the most dangerous positions to capitalize. Eventually realizing that really it's just Diego Rossi is a very good player. Abu Ali is a very good player. And Gazdag is just not a very good player anymore. Really to swing and a miss from Nancy. He didn't have very many of those in Columbus, but that one for sure. I also think it's underrated. that Darlington Nagbe being gone is not talked about more as maybe a potential problem for this Columbus side. I don't think Dylan Chombo is a bad player at all. I think he's a really, really good player. But much like with Orlando, you lose those veteran guys, those guys that get it, and things start to fall apart. And you take a team that has been consistently competing near the top of the league, making MLS Cup finals, winning MLS Cups, and you take that, and you take the veteran presence away, and you start to realize how important it is, especially in a league like MLS. So that's what I think. I think Darlington Nagbe they haven't replaced him. Nobody's really set up. I know Rudy Camacho has had his injury problems as well, so he's not seeing the field very much as well. Another veteran guy. And I think that, and obviously with Nancy being gone and having to adapt to a new coach, there's just been too much turnover behind the scenes that it's affecting the product on the field. I didn't expect it to be this heavily affected.
Jeremy?
I have nothing further. Josh just aced it. I'm just more sad that Abu Ali is hurt. He's really just he's behind Musa, and this could be another debate. I believe he's one of the best, most complete strikers in this league, and he's exactly everything you want from a DP forward. I think that Columbus's season last year is very different if they're able to get him before the Club World Cup. And now here he is. He was suffering at the start of this year and still scoring a ton of goals. And now they're not going to see him for the rest of this year. What are they going to do with that open DP slot? I wonder.
I'm going to move us over to Houston Dynamo, who got thrashed by the Rapids 6-2. That was a very fun game to attend. Overall, with Houston, you guys know how I feel about Ben Olsen. I have always felt that, yeah, love is a strong word there. But I've always felt as though the peak of his career came when Brendan Burke was his assistant. There was kind of this dynamic where Burke would work really closely with the attack and with the combinations. This was the peak of Hector Herrera. You move forward. You lose Brooklyn Reigns. You get Herrera, Diadie Semiseku. I don't know how to say his first name, but between two of them, like you're trying to pair up him with Augustin Buzat, because at the moment now. Jack McGlynn is hurt, has missed the last 2 games, and it's tough because like Ponce, what does he even do? Again, he's just I feel like all of the I almost said all the Texan strikers but no, I forget Dallas have just 2 studs up top, but between like Zuni and Ponce, like the Texas, those 2 Texan teams just have bums at striker. I don't know, like I don't know why they are insistent on using Ponce as a pressing forward when that's not what he does. And like even now, like with players like Guilherme, who it's pronounced Guilherme, right?
Guilherme, and he's electric in the front runner for newcomer of the year so far.
Yeah. I love Guilherme, and I maybe Bogusz has not been as exciting, but I do think it's tougher for him to play off a guy like Ponce when I think I can't see why they don't put Bogusz up there. Like if you're looking for a guy that's just gonna play in transition and get you that type of goal, that Ponce is just not going to give you. And so overall, Houston, I gotta check something, fellas, because where did we collectively have Houston? I had them in 6, the highest of us all, collectively 9th. I still think 9 is probably their ceiling at this point. Just this like outside, because I do think it's better than last season. Last season, I at least Like we're not seeing as much. We're not seeing any Amin Bassi. You're not seeing any Sebastian Kowalczyk. Thank God. But I still think that there's just some things that I almost said Brendan that Ben Olsen just needs to try. Like, why? We'll go back to last year. Why is Jonathan Bond your starter when you have Blake Gillingham? Like, and then outside of Jack McGlynn, who is the young star? Nolly, who's now playing as the left wing back and not giving you, playing out of position there. Oh man, this is like I think the overall structure is better for Houston. It's just still the decisions as to who fills out the structure of the team. Because I want to like Houston. I like Zviachenko. I like Halter, who is hurt. I like Antonio Carlos. I like even their depth guys in Augustine Resch. Beyond that, who's the other guy? Felipe Andrade is electric. They lost Dorsey, and in comes Dwayne Holmes from a midfield position to fill in at fullback. And so overall, like I like this Houston team. They turned over a lot of their signings, and now it's just a case of putting the circle shape in the circle hole, and then the square shape inside the square hole, and then the star shape inside the star hole. You know what I mean? Like they got to figure out the best way to combine the pieces here. I'll throw it over to y'all. Any immediate Houston takes, fellas? I have had some time to think about Houston, honestly.
I think they're interesting. I don't think they're very good, but I do think that they are going to be just a consistently tough out for other Western Conference teams, and I say that on the heels of them getting just spanked by the Rapids. But also, when I look at that, I see a lot of Colorado's damage was done after like the altitude mark was presented, where it's like after the 60th minute and teams start to tail off. And also Jonathan Bond stinks, and I hate Ben Olsen that he's still still like persisting with him. Like I think that's still the easiest like fix this team has, because trying to deal with an overpaid DP who isn't really doing anything, that could be really tough. But if Houston is serious, they're buying out Ponce this summer. They're finding another use for that DP slot. Might I say honestly, I don't know, because I'd rather see Bogusz up top. I agree with you, Wanderers. I'd rather see Bogusz up top, Guilherme on the right maybe, and Inali on the left in that back three. And you move Andrade up to left wing back. Maybe you get another center back. Maybe you go 2-4, pick up some GAM, see if there's in-league player that you could swing a trade for, because McGlynn has done very well there. And although they've lost their last 3 league games, like there's enough. There's enough. They scream wild card team, and that's still with a waste of space at DP as a DP striker. So, interested to see how their summer looks. But first and foremost, Guilherme is absolutely a force of nature, and he is very fun to watch.
I'm gonna move us on over to Cincinnati, and I'm gonna let Joss lead us off with Cincy. I hate Cincy. I despise Cincinnati, honestly. It's kind of a travesty they beat Montreal, because if they hadn't, they'd be right down there with the rest of the bottom heap of teams in MLS. But Joss, Cincinnati thoughts. What are you seeing out of them?
Not much, and it seems like a lot of the problems that had affected them last year, but were somehow swept under the rug, either by Evander Brilliance or Denke bicycle kicks, have come to roost, and they didn't have an answer for them. I mean, let's think about last year. Cincinnati fans were hounding Pat Noonan, saying it's not good enough. We need a new coach. And a lot of people were like, "Why? You're second, you're third, you're in the top half of the Eastern Conference, a very tough meat grinder gauntlet Eastern Conference. Like, what do you want?" But if you look at the underlying numbers, they were losing on XG a lot of the time. They were getting beaten. They were just scoring really, really hard chances, and that made it, that kind of papered over the cracks. But the thing about XG is that it is a cruel lever, and it'll pull you back to where you belong as fast as it put you up there. And that's exactly what's happening this season. They're not scoring those harder chances anymore. They're not able to capitalize on these. And for a team that has spent so much on players like Evander, players like Kevin Denke, who for like 3 minutes was the record signing in MLS until Latte Loth came along. Let's not forget DP Miles Robinson, Celentano as well. Like, these are high level guys. And I agree with Juan, and unfortunately I fell for it. Cincinnati, I had them really high up in my standings. Don't go check. I had them really high. Don't go check. I see you looking at that computer screen. Don't go check. Look at me. Stop it. Don't go check.
Look straight at the camera.
For a team that spends that much and has a fan base as passionate as Cincinnati's is, and has a great stadium and a city that's really embraced them. Like, although fuck TQL, by the way, I had a job interview with them, and it was like, you got to be here for 8 hours a day from 6:45 to 4:45, and then you got to go home and then come back. Fuck you, TQL. Suck my balls. That's my beef with you. But sorry about saying that. Sorry, I forgot we're live. But what I will say is Cincinnati.
I wasn't gonna edit that out though.
The cracks are there. The foundation is broken. That's the thing. Cincinnati as a foundational team are broken. I think Sharon always gets me, bro. If nobody got me, I know Sharon got me. Can I get an amen? But Cincinnati's foundation is broken. And with Evander being out / wanting to go back to Brazil all the time, like, oh God, it's icky, bro. It's icky there. Like, there's just a level of things are shaking, and I could see them keeping it together, squeaking out a playoff spot just based on their talent. But if they don't address the underlying data, then they're going to quickly fall off next season, and we could be talking about them in the same way we're talking about DC, Sporting KC, Montreal.
Please. BSF banned from Cincinnati soon.
Last time I was there, one of their fans called my buddy the F slur. So, like, I'm actually okay.
Yeah, we cool.
Yeah, we good. Hey, it's that clip. LeBron. No, what does he say? Is it, hey, LeBron, we're good. We got whoever. I forget who was talking about. And now I sound like I'm just rambling. I just sound like I'm rambling.
No, it was really funny, bro. It was really funny.
Thank you. Thanks, man. No, I appreciate that.
We cool, bro.
We're good.
We're good. You know who's not doing good is DC United, who just got knocked out of the U.S. Open Cup. We did mention that a bit earlier. Who did I have here for the? I wasn't checking to see the to see your Cincinnati prediction. I was trying to see who I'm teeing up for DCU, and we're staying with you, Josh. DC United.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, whenever we record these, Wanners will usually assign us games for us to watch and report on before each game week. And I come into the chat to see DCU New England Revolution staring me in the face, and it's like, do you want me to die? Like, is that
it's MLS Heritage. This is an MLS Cup final rematch.
Okay. An MLS Cup final rematch
from before we were watching.
Does it start with 1990? Yeah. Okay.
With 4 teams in the league.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. DC United. I was actually on their subreddit earlier, just trying to get a a view of how things are going. And if I may, one of the most recent posts was from 2 days ago. It is hop in the Wayback Machine and watch Patrick Mullins score as many goals in one half as 2026 DC has scored in 7 games. Who remembers that?
Shout out Patrick Mullins, dude. What a fucking player.
What a dog. Yeah. Honestly,
what a dog.
I don't know if there's a better way to describe DC United. They don't score a lot. Ty Baribo has 3 goals this year, and he's their leading scorer, which, for early on, pretty decent. But like they don't score a lot. The only problem is, unlike Austin, they concede more, as you'll see in this Open Cup game that they just lost to 1 Knox SC. It was a 3-3 game, 2-2 heading into extra time. But at DC, it's just more of the same. Unfortunately, they really haven't had like a San Jose style rebuild, which we'll talk about San Jose and how good they've been this season. But they haven't really had that, and I think DC went too flashy with it. They went out and got a sports lawyer to be their front office guy. What's his name?
Urquhart So Good, the author.
The author. There it is.
Jeremy, you should call him right now. You have his number, don't you?
Oh shit! Well, I
no. Maybe on the
I don't
season
think he's
finale.
in the country, guys.
Where's he at?
No, not in DC. He's doing the job remotely, from what I heard, which is really funny. You guys know we're getting an all-timer of a LinkedIn post tomorrow morning from him. Like, it's gonna be spectacular. How do you rationalize a home loss to 1 Knoxville in the Open Cup? Josh, keep going. Keep going. I have nothing further to add.
I don't either. Like, really, DC United are just they're bad. They're a bad team. No fun league. And they don't score. Like, what do we like? We don't want to watch them. They just lost to the Revolution 1-0. Matt Turner, apparently, Matt Turner had like the game, a really good game for them. But for DC, it's no fun league. Things are not fun for DC, and they haven't been.
If you could do one thing that would make it fun, what would that one thing be? Change or addition or a hypothetical, if you will.
Huh.
Barron Trump homegrown contract?
Do they need a goalkeeper? Is that the problem? Is goalkeeper really the problem?
Alex Bono got an assist in the most recent Open Cup game. Alex Bono got an assist.
Is it true that the Barron Trump highlight?
I know what I would do. Leaked? Yeah, this was a while ago. This was a couple of years ago. He's huge, by the way. He was like 6'4" in the 8th grade. He's huge. It's so funny. But I know what I would do is I would just get a cloning device and put Joao Pedro in there. Okay. And I would just clone 11 of him, and I just throw him out there. And it would be a lot of changes. They'd lose a lot of games, but damn, would it be fun? It would be like watching like beach soccer in the Olympics, or like in the beach soccer World Cup, where they're just like doing headers and volleys. And sure, they might lose a bunch of games, but it's fun. And that's what DC needs. They need to be fun. I think fans are begging to be fun, for it to be fun.
One team that's begging, or one fan base that is begging their team to be fun, is the Portland Timbers. And of course, we'll go to Jeremy. I will say though, fellas, I may have to run and fill up my meter, so I may end up leaving within the next couple of minutes. I'll let you know. But before I do that, Jeremy, I famously said that you seem to think it's a coaching issue. I still think there's a kind of a talent deficit between Portland and the rest of the league. It helps when you have Cole Bassett in midfield with Jose Caicedo. I do like that combo. I do think that combo is has got something, but I just don't think Portland are elite in the sense of talent wise. But I'll let Jeremy kind of lead off on Portland here.
I don't think the question is whether or not they're elite. I think the question is whether or not they have playoff quality talent in the Western Conference. And I thought they had that talent in 2024. I thought they had it last year. I think they have it this year. And I think what's keeping them from becoming a consistently competitive team is, to put it closely, coaching. And that, because I watch these players in training every single week, twice a week. I see what they can do. But every time I watch them play in an actual game, like I described it, they beat LAFC this weekend. They scored the first goal that any MLS team has scored against LAFC this weekend. And then they scored a winner deep into stoppage time, courtesy of one Kevin Kelsey. So
you didn't do the song.
I should be happy about that because I am. It's a win they absolutely needed. It was very awesome to be in the stadium for that. However, you guys know the meme where it's oh boy, I'm really excited to watch my favorite team play. There's like a little bit right here. And then for this portion, it is, I am going to kill myself. Folks, I spent the majority of this game in the I am going to kill myself category. This was a game where they took the lead a half hour in. They allowed an equalizer right out of halftime. They didn't get the winner until the last kick of the game. But I also saw enough to think, wow, I see the vision. And then the only problem is I look at who LAFC started. I see two academy kids in Chouanier in the midfield. And I'm seeing a heavily rotated back line. And fucking Thomas Hasal in there, who has to go off 20 minutes in because he broke his nose because he can't call off his own left back from a loose ball, so he allows his left back to collide with him. It was one of the most mind-numbingly stupid goalkeeping plays I've ever seen. But then you bring in the third-string goalkeeper who's making his MLS debut, 21 years old, Cabral Carter. We could never escape the Cabrals, guys. We really can't. There's always going to be one, right? And they spent the rest of this game just knocking the ball around. No one's willing to take any shots on the 21-year-old debut goalkeeper who's third on the depth chart. They don't want to send any, they just don't want to take any shots. It makes no sense. This team attacked like they didn't want to score goals, that they just wanted to have control of the ball because control is more important than scoring the goals. They can't counterattack because they have no idea how to change the tempo of their attacks. And I chalk so much of that up to coaching because I've seen Anthony in the open field. I've seen what he can do. Waters, you know what he can do. Forget this year. He scores against the Rapids every single game because he's just that much of an open field threat, and usually he's running it like Lawless Abubakar or some shit. So when you get Anthony and he's receiving his ball in the middle third on the wing with his back to goal, that's a coaching issue. Because why aren't those balls going over the top? Why isn't he running onto any of this shit? Well, why isn't Velda running onto anything? Why isn't DaCosta the one who's getting those balls with his back to goal, allowing him to turn out of pressure? Why doesn't this team turn out of pressure and run unless it's Christopher Velda who does that on the first goal? Except, he isn't turning out of pressure on that play because no one's fucking pressuring him because they have two academy kids and Chouanier in the midfield. When I saw that starting lineup, I was thinking, win by 2 goals. at the very least. This game could have been put to bed in the first half. They can't do it. They couldn't do it. And now the toughest part of their schedule is about to hit. Thankfully, they were able to get this win. They need this win more than anything. Now it means that they're in 20th instead of down in the – they saved themselves from being a potential Cincinnati. Cincinnati got their win against Montreal. Portland gets theirs against LAFC. There's levels to this shit, Evander. But I can see the talent on this team. I can see that it can become a very cohesive unit. They've found hilarious ways to drop points this year, and 90% of those because this team is so disorganized. They were disorganized last year. They were disorganized the year before, and that's why I don't question the talent as much. I see good players on this team. Te quiero mucho, Jose Caicedo. Cole Bassett, good to see you back. Like, Velda's done a really good job over the past couple of games since they moved him to, like, kind of the right-sided number 10 role. They've been able to do some pretty good stuff without Juan Mascara, too. Finn Sermon is probably the best center back in the league. I'm not going to – shut up. He's the best – how about this? He's the best former A-League center back in the league. Now that's going to piss you off. So
yeah. We haven't even seen Orblorian play yet, and you're saying this.
Just because my goat doesn't play in pity leagues like the A-League, bro.
He doesn't play in the league yet. So I see the talent on this team. I just see it being wasted right now. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Ned Grabvoy said, okay, Phil Neville has the first 14 games of this season to prove whether or not he gets a contract extension, which once again, the biggest reason why there's so much speculation about Phil Neville's job is because after they lost 5-0 to Vancouver in 2024 in the wildcard game, he gets in front of reporters and he says, I have a 3-year contract. It's year 3. He has not been private about his contract status. So he is playing for he is coaching this year for another contract. I don't think he's done enough up to this point. By the time those 14 games reach, I don't think he's going to get there either. But that's also due to the fact that they have 2 more home games before the World Cup, and a majority of their road games are against pretty good teams, or at least teams that Portland historically doesn't have a very good record against. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, when I'm spending the majority of a home game, against a team with a third-string goalkeeper and 2 academy midfielders for the majority of the time, thinking I'm going to kill myself, I don't think that's a pretty good, like, portension of how bright the future is. The future is still bright because, like, a lot of these players are 24 and under, but oh God, it's just such a chore to watch.
I still think it's better than a lot of the rest of the league, though, is the thing. Like, and maybe Portland just are the Atlanta of the West, but even then, the West is still a lot more fun, just generally speaking. I want to move us on over to LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy.
Hey.
You guys know that one?
That's where the guys want to be. LA Galaxy.
I love that one.
that one rocks.
I unironically sing that sometimes whenever I'm thinking about the Galaxy. Man. Galaxy. Oh yeah. Oh man. You just had to be there. Where is that guy now?
They got him playing right back.
Mauricio Cuevas, is that you?
That was Harbor Miller.
Oh shit, that's who it is. Well, Harbor Miller. That's a good transition. Harbor Miller is now playing left wing because Joseph Paint's still out, And this is still a team that needs guys like a Paintsill, like a Peck to just be threats wide up the field. When you only got to worry about Peck, and here's the thing about Peck, he's a great player. Like I think the only reason LA Galaxy are still relevant and still in games is because Peck is just lights out. Klaus, it helps to have a Klaus as well, some guy you can play off of. And, like not too long ago, we were clowning Klaus for his longest streak without a goal, and now he's just the guy for them there. Don't know how I feel about Marco Royce still. I'm like, I kind of have a theory on players like Royce or Muller or like a Zaha, right? Like these kind of like or Griezmann. Like if you have to rely on these players, your team is gonna be ass. If they're a complement to the team that you already have, it's gonna be lights out. It's gonna be exactly what you need. Like I look at Minnesota with James Rodriguez. Like you probably did not need to make that signing. Why'd you make that signing? Same thing with Marco Royce here. It was fine and dandy when Puig was in the midfield and when he was your guy. And now that Royce is the guy, and I think Royce is having a good season so far. I'm shitting on the guy a little bit, but it's really just, I don't know. The Galaxy is the Galaxy. They're already better than last year. They had a very low bar to clear. I'll throw it over to you guys. What are we thinking about the Galaxy so far? Anyone really liking the Galaxy?
They're fine.
They're hilarious.
Yeah. They're fine for all the wrong reasons. But Marco Royce does have, or he did when I checked, the most chances created in the league. That was before the last game week, though, so that might have changed. But I think that goes to own Wanders and bring him down a peg. Don't talk about my GOAT, my FIFA 17 covered GOAT, Marco Royce. All right.
Now that player would have been an electric in MLS.
Yeah.
He's
not the same anymore, but it was fun while it lasted.
I mean, if he had Paintsill on his left, I think, and not for nothing, I do think Royce is like again have a good season. It's just he really should not be the guy in your midfield there. Glesnes, of course, is still out. So now it's kind of a center back three of Glesnes, Yoshida, and Garces, whichever one they're feeling on that day. But Galaxy, it's a team that was already built, and they lost Puig, and it's like, all right, well, now what does it look like without Puig? It's just mid. It's just mid. Then that's fine. That's fine. You can be mid in MLS. It's a non-derogatory mid. Let's move on to New England Revolution. I'm gonna go to Joss for this one, but before I go to Joss, I'm actually gonna go run and fill up my meter. So I will listen via the live stream here. Joss, tell us about New England, and I will make sure I don't get a parking ticket. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Dude, how funny would it be if you got a parking ticket? We should call the Denver parking police and say, hey, I know it'll make
this guy right here.
I'll make you a few bucks, dude. What is there to say about the Revolution? Matt Turner, it seems to be having a bit of a career resurgence. I like to see that. That's fun, considering that he's been kind of out in the wilderness. Did you even remember he used to play for Palace? I forgot that. So,
oh my God, he did.
Yeah, I forgot that. And he's still technically, is he owned by Palace or technically owned by Lyon? Because they're like the same club now. I don't know. But that's been fun. It sucks that Leo Campagna has been hurt, I think. I think that this Revs team would be way more fun if they had him healthy consistently. Because I remember when they picked him up, this was before we had signed Jovic. I was like, why the hell were we not going after this guy? Like, if he was available, why were we not going to sign him? And when the Revs picked him up, I was like, that was a good piece of business. But interestingly enough, I think their player of the season so far has been Peyton Miller, their young right back or left back. He kind of plays both, doesn't he?
Left back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Left back. Their young left back, Peyton Miller.
the left, yeah.
Because it's Feingold on the other end, right? And he's also electric. I really like it's something funny about the new. They just continue producing wingbacks. They're a wingback factory. Don't forget Tajon, bro. But yeah, I think that he's probably been their player of the season, Peyton Miller. And I think that that's always really fun whenever you have a young guy who comes through the academy and has cemented himself as one of your most important players. Is he going to be like an Alex Freeman, for example? I don't know. I'd be curious to see, but I don't see why he can't be. Like, I don't see why he can't be getting a move. I know that there's already clubs in Europe circling around him, so I don't see why he can't get that big move that Alex Freeman got. Interestingly enough, I think the Revolution's moment of the season was actually Esmir Bajatovic scoring the winning penalty to send Italy out of the World Cup and Bosnia to the World Cup. I think that might be their moment of the season so far, but I don't think that's bad. Like, I'd be doing that if Busio did something like that. You know, I'd be repping that shit. So I think it was just a cool moment.
Yeah. I think New England is interesting. I think we haven't seen the best from them yet. I know we haven't seen the best from Griffin Yao, who isn't very good. But
God,
yeah,
I forgot he was there.
Who?
Bless you.
Jesus Christ, I gotta work on that sneeze. I don't know how you work on a sneeze though. But they've won 3 out of their last 4 league games. It took them penalties to get past Rhode Island in the Open Cup. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine. I will not speak for our other co-host who's not here, but yeah, I think they're going to be fine. I think Marko Mitrovic will not get fired.
Is that your big take?
That's my big hot take. Really putting it all on the line here.
He's going to stay in a job through the rest of the year.
Yep.
I will say I do like the Peyton Miller shout, but it seems he's starting less and less. Like he's been kind of coming on for Will Sands, who. I don't know what's going on there. I think Mitrovic is really like, because anytime, okay, according to my model here, Joss is not wrong. Peyton Miller is lights out. He is single-handedly one of the better players based on like on all his actions, all his contributions, his G+, and yet they don't play him. They don't start him. But anytime he comes on, it's just the team just lights up. Sorry, I ran, so I'm like,
No, you're good,
I'm catching my breath a little bit.
Just hustling.
Yeah, I got a parking ticket, guys. It's fucked.
No, how much?
Yeah, they were like, yeah, our buddy Joss called, and I'm like, of course. That Nick.
Don't go breaking the law around my parts. I'm just doing what any good citizen would do.
Thank you, citizen. You're not needed here in Denver. No. I didn't get a fucking ticket. I'm good. Okay, but New England, they're good at home. They spanked Cincinnati. I like that, but overall, like, I mean, I still don't really. Griffin Yao.
What does he
even do?
I don't
know. Langoni's fun. And then
Langoni is fun.
I don't know. I like Turkles, dude. I really do like Turkles over Campana, so I don't mind him not starting there. But yeah, let's move it along to Minnesota. Soda. They have benched Bongi Luwane, and so I thought I was ready for the Cameron Knowles era of, like, because remember Cameron Knowles, he came in before Ramsey, and Minnesota like cooked. They were like this fun team. I don't think I'm having any more fun with Minnesota, honestly. And that's even coming off of their 2-1 win over San Diego. I have a lot more thoughts on San Diego. See, we're doing all the memes
San
today.
Diego.
But I mean, okay, 2 back-to-back road wins for Minnesota here. And so it's starting to, you know, they're stabilizing after Boxall is gone. But I think one of my main things about Minnesota was how down do you have to be still relying on a guy like Boxall? So to see them now moving on to like relying more on Morris Duggan, big ups. Big ups. It only took Boxall getting hurt for them to like really move on from that position, but they've benched Bongi. They're not using James Rodriguez as much. I know James was a little bit
dehydrated.
Yeah, just I don't know what's going on. Another guy that's just sitting on their bench, Mauricio Gonzalez. Why sign this homie and not even play him? Dominic Fitz says hello to that to that remark as well. Not been used at all.
Oh my God.
I don't get this team, and I always assign myself Minnesota, and every time I'm like, why would I do this? I have no concrete thoughts on them. They're a good team. They don't have as strong as identity. Listen, guys, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams.
7, 8 M's in my bank account.
I wish. 6
Be
teams
buying
with
Montreal.
1.57 points per game. And of all of them here, Minnesota's kind of like the last of them. Every one of them have a bit more of an interesting dynamic. I feel like Minnesota just got to the table here. Like, yeah, we're good. We're actually pretty good here. And I'm like, well, I look at New York, Toronto, Charlotte, San Diego, New York City, the other teams ahead of them, which we'll talk about. And they all have a lot more interesting things in Minnesota going on right now. But fellas, Minnesota thoughts? Any to be had?
I struggle with Minnesota because I think getting Drake Callender was a really, really good replacement for Dane St. Clair. Owen Jean has finally started to like get some starts, but I'm with Waters. Like, you can't take Bongi out of this team. You really can't. Like, Dominic Fitz, what the fuck is going on with Dominic Fitz? And like, keep in mind, so they're unbeaten in their last 3. One of whom was a 0-0 tie against Seattle. Then they've had back-to-back 2-1 wins on the road against 2 California teams. However, last year this team was a lot better on the road than they were at home. And I feel like they're still trying to figure out who exactly they are with the ball. They aren't as terroristic as they were last year. I could say terroristic now, even though I after being treated to the goddamn Eric Ramsey experience, I could say that they were terroristic last year, even if it was effective terrorism, which but here's what Cameron Knowles has been trying to do. He's been trying to get them to be a little bit more comfortable with the ball, still being able to use it, but also having the bunker bag, the bunker club in their bag. They aren't as effective from set pieces anymore, which means that they have to do a lot more of their creating from open play, which is fine. They also haven't replaced Tani Oluwaseyi. Mamadou Dieng, who the underlying numbers really loved when he was at USL, he hasn't been able to take the step up yet. Do you give him a little more time? Probably. You probably should give some more minutes to Dominic Fitz too, but what do I know? Like, I thought their offseason wasn't like bad, but it also wasn't good because they did lose a fair amount of people, but they were smart about replacing them. Thomas Shankala has been fun. He's been really fun over the past couple of weeks as he's been able to get into he's been able to find his role here. I do not know. I think that it is too early to make a judgment on Minnesota. All I know is that they do have the talent on this team to be effective. I'm wondering which foreign club is going to pull the trigger on Triantis this summer. He belongs in a better league.
Watford.
Yeah, probably. Sounds about right.
Let's
That's all.
let's move on over to New York. Concrete Jungle Wet Dream Tomatoes.
Which
not
one?
New York City, New Jersey, actually, with the Red Bulls or Red Bull New York. Sorry, fellas. Michael Bradley first year. I was very much Bradley pilled, just based off what they had done to the Rapids in and MLS Next Pro and MLS Next Pro champion, and now he's at New York. He's kind of bringing a lot more of the young guys in. This is going to be the season of Julian Hall and Adrian Mehmeti, and man, why couldn't we have gotten Kevin Sullivan in this Bradley in this Michael Bradley team? You know what I mean?
Because they had to go get Kate Cowell.
Well, even still, because I like Kate Cowell. Didn't he score? No, he did not. He still has yet to score, huh? What's Kate Cowell? How many goals does Kate Cowell have? Quick.
0.
Career?
Yeah, he has 0. 1 assist. So, Cowell, come on, what are we doing? Beyond that, though, I don't know. I think my big thing with New York is they're fun. They're just fun. I love seeing Mehmeti, love seeing Hall. The fact that they're two of their, within that spine for the team. I mean, not to keep piling it on to a to an SKC team, but they're doing it with Robert Volader. I mean, before that, LA Galaxy are doing it with an Eric Tommy. We'll get to Toronto. They're doing it with a Daniel Shallowy.
Oh my god, bro! Leave me
it's just
alone,
me.
bro.
It is mean. But Volader, I mean, Justin Che goes down and Volader's in. Anything, I mean, shout out Tim Parker, but Tim Parker, Volader. It's a tough question there, but you take Volader every single time. Dylan Nealis, the only Nealis brother now in New York. He's been there, but what are you guys making of New York so far? This youth, and again, Jackiel Marshall Ruddy, dude. Why is it that this dude goes to so many different teams? I hope he can. Is he on loan or is he officially a Red Bull?
I think he's a Red Bull. Pretty sure they traded for him.
Good for him, because between Toronto and Montreal, neither of them could figure out how to use him. He goes to Charlotte, has a very good Charlotte season, and they don't bring him back. And so if he's on the Red Bulls are going to capitalize on that. Of course, we'll see if Cameron Harper ends up taking any of those minutes when he gets back. But what are you guys' thoughts on the Red Bulls? Again, I was at the eulogy, at the New York Red Bulls eulogy. So to now be back, energized up a little bit, you know what I mean, for the Red Bulls. How are you guys feeling?
I'll say one thing, Jeremy. I think that Juan did a great job of covering it. But if you know the quote, you know the quote. Them young boys coming.
They are.
Them young boys coming. Shout out Charles Barkley. Them young boys coming.
I think that because of how good their young players are, specifically how good Mehmeti, Matthew Dos Santos, and Julian Hall are, they now have a title window. Because that's exactly what you want from your young players in this league. They have to fill out the rest of this roster so they are able to compete. Because keep in mind, you usually have a highly paid player as your number 6. You usually have a DP at striker. And, left back where Dos Santos plays, that could be filled by a number of different players at different wages. I've seen DP left backs in this league before, or players who are high TAM that have the impact of DPs at left back. So when your key contributors on your spine aren't taking up a ton of cap space, that means you have to go all in for a trophy. And Mehmeti, he's 17 now. He's probably going to be gone before the calendar switch. Like, he's not going to be gone this summer. He's not going to be gone this winter. But I firmly believe that he's not going to be in this league for very long. He is sensational. So what you have to do in between now and then is maximize the beauty of having two key contributors at key positions taking up jack squat on your salary cap. Go all in, New York. You can do it.
That good money ball, guys. Let's move over to Charlotte. Charlotte FC, to be more precise there. Finally lost at home over the weekend against Nashville. That was a rough one. And I think a lot of what we said last week about it, Dribble Diani may have the Goss theorem, but also maybe Dribble Diani should not be the guy in that midfield. I know I talked a lot of smack about Minnesota being within this group of what is it? 1, 2, 3, 6 of these 1.57 points per games after 7 games here. And to be fair, I mean, New England is right there as well, but they didn't have an extra game to get there. Charlotte, man, I don't know. I'm thinking Charlotte are it's Dean Smith ball, right? Like, we've seen it year after year after year after year. We understand what it is. How are you guys feeling about Charlotte? Is there anything towards their game where like in the conference they're in 5th, but we've seen them kind of last year kind of hang around with these top level sides and then slowly drift away. But what are y'all feeling about Charlotte?
The loss this wasn't just to a Nashville team. It was Nashville's B team because Nashville were prepped for the Club America game in CONCACAF Champions League. So losing to Nashville at home by itself, not that bad. But losing to Nashville's B team at home, you can start asking questions, I think, about what this Charlotte team is. And I think that it's a perfect encapsulation where they're not at that elite Eastern Conference level. They're not among the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference, but because the Eastern Conference this year is so much worse than it has been previously, they might be like one of those fake teams whose table position is actually way better than their team suggests it is.
Jeremy?
I don't think Charlotte's very good.
Period.
But at the same time, yeah, period. And I think that losing this game that they did in the last weekend to Nashville in that fashion is really, really, really concerning, considering the biggest thing that they have to call on is their home field advantage. That was the last game in 5 straight they spent at home, not counting their Open Cup win today against Charlotte Independence, which I'm not counting because it's an Open Cup game. And based on this, God, they didn't even fucking start Berchimas in this game. It's an Open Cup game against Charlotte Independence. Berchimas comes in off the bench. God, Dean, you're killing me. So they go on the road for their next 4. It's such a weird schedule to start off the year because then they're on the road for their next 4. And then their final 4 before the World Cup are at home. So, God, they're so confusing. They're so confusing, but they're also just not very good. They play in a high floor system where the floor fluctuates week by week. I'm with Waters. They need a different midfielder than Diani. I thought that'd be Luca Della Torre. Somehow it's not him. But yeah, they are boring. They are boring. I don't think Pep Biel is the best non-DP player in the league anymore.
Whoa. Bold to say without Daniel here. But, we can all just agree. You know,
Likely
sorry,
why
Daniel. One team I did skip was Toronto. I was really high on Toronto, fellas, and then I saw them without Georgie, and I understand now just how mid. And you know, like the Galaxy was kind of mid non-derogatory. I'm gonna call Toronto now without Georgie mid derogatory because I was so ready for them to actually like pop off with this, you know, with Georgie at the core of their build here. He broke his pelvis, so he's out for the next 2 months. So they won't be mid for long. They'll kind of stabilize a little bit. But I mean, in their match against Cincinnati, it just showed just how much this team was missing a guy like Georgie. No Corbiano still, and I'm like, that was my one dude where I really wanted to hype up for this season. He's still injured. Kushevich is good. I do quite like him. I don't mind Coelho either. I think he's a very fun player to watch, even if he's not the most polished. But I'll throw it over to you guys. Sargent. Oh, Sargent kind of stinks. I don't know. That's kind of one of my takeaways there for Toronto. But what about you guys? How are you feeling on Toronto so far in the Big 26?
I'm tired of having to be subjected to them every Saturday morning. Like, play a 7:30 p.m. local kick. It is unfair that every single team in this league has to be subjected to the 7:30 p.m. kicks, and Toronto just gets 1:30s every single weekend. I get it. You guys get to have your nice little day games. I'm tired of watching it. I am absolutely tired of it. I see way too much Toronto.
Yeah, I mean they're the weekly OTB. Maybe even if they weren't, you know, they start off the slate, and sometimes they start off the slate, and I'm like, God, I wish I had a better team to watch than these guys, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But let's transition over to San Diego. Who are kind of regressing. They're finally coming back down to earth. I remember last season, right around August, from August to the playoffs, I was noticing like just how like mid their games were, and then they turned it on for the playoffs. So it's like, okay, shut up, Juan. Like they're obviously not bad if they can just turn it on in the playoffs. But I remember there's a stretch where it was like, yeah. I think this is about Toronto. Stadium not full either. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck Toronto. No, the thing about San Diego though is like I think we've seen some of the signs of them being like just this like poor team, and then they turn it on during the playoffs. It's like, all right, annoying, whatever. Sure, you're good. They made it to the semis, so that's, you know, nothing to be nothing to like knock. And then now, second season comes around. They started off really strong. They pummeled. Was it Pumas?
Toluca.
Was it Toluca?
I think it was Toluca in the first leg, and then they lost in the second leg, if I remember correctly.
Because
it was impressive. It was impressive. We're going to give them credit for that. But then they went down to Mexico, and things haven't been the same since. Do you want to know why things haven't been the same since, Waters?
No Amal Pellegrino.
That's part of it, but also because they can't stop getting red cards because they can't defend in transition. Do we have a Melbourne of the season shout goes to Chris McVeigh, who has picked up 3 straight red cards in the last 3 games that he's played. I think that's a problem.
Yeah, and then Oswald Suey is not as polished a center back. What do you think, Josh? I know you were the one that was like big on the you can't be good this early, and now it looks like they're really coming back down to earth.
You can't. This is what happens. This is what happened to St. Louis. Second season syndrome. You don't get to be good all the time. You don't get to be good straight from the off. You have to struggle. You have to suffer. And San Diego have not done either of those things. Now, I mean, they were struggling even before the season started. Herving Lozano, ring a bell, everybody. Where is he at? He's collecting. He is taking these guys to the bank every week to sit on the bench. He's a DP. He's making so much money to basically hang out. Let's not forget that. So I think that this is perfectly deserved. And San Diego seemed to have a bit of a keeping players on the pitch problem. And it happened to my boy, Hawk Dua. And we will remember you for your service. But if that's what it takes for San Diego fans to come crashing down to earth, then I'm behind it.
Yep.
All for it, dude. Are we losing Josh now? You out of here, bud?
No, I'm just taking my plate to the sink.
Oh, okay. You do that. Let's go back to the concrete jungle wet dream tomato in New York City this time. New York City's one of my favorite teams because they consistently play the same lineup, and that helps my seasonal accuracy score for my kick-based probable lineups. And they're just still that team. They are still that team. I know they went to Vancouver, they lost. But man, I just think New York City, man, once I want to hype them up, but then it's also like you got the baseball stadium tax, you got, this. Finally, very, very happy to see Keaton Parks getting minutes again in this league. I think he's a great player. Agustina Heda kind of flowing into that role, into that right wing role, being more of a presence there. Hannes Wolf. What are your thoughts on Hannes Wolf, Peter? Or Jeremy. I read Peterman and I said Peter, but what are your thoughts on Hannes Wolf? Because I'm a little bit disillusioned on him. I think he's a good player, but I'm ready for Malachi Jones. Who is back, fellas? Malachi Jones is back on the bench, no less. But how are we feeling on Hannes Wolf? Any New York City thoughts in general for these guys?
I mean, I share your enthusiasm for Malachi Jones. But also at the same time, they haven't won in their last 3. And I don't think they've faced a murderer's row of teams per se. Like they lost 2-0 in Vancouver. Understandable. They did not look good in that Vancouver game either. Like I think Portland played Vancouver better than NYC did, but also cross-country travel, yada, 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 all the excuses. They drew with St. Louis, which was a pretty bad result for them. And then they lost to Inter Miami, which I think is also a bad result because I don't think Miami's that good. So, I mean, it really hasn't been – it's been very much a like, oh, you look at the box scores and it's like, oh, yeah, they've had a pretty good start to the season. And then you realize, wow, they've played a lot of teams that got red cards. And now it's like you got to give Jansen credit for getting a first-choice starting 11, but they're still missing that guy. I really think they are. Remember, Nicolas Fernandez-Mercado, I'm like, I don't really think he's elite. An elite player finds a way to score in Vancouver.
Mosquera shout out.
The Costa shout out.
The Costa too. Yeah. My bad. Josh, any New York City thoughts? I know you were on this one.
Oh, man, imagine if Alonso Martinez were back in this team, brother. Imagine what he could do. It's sad. It's sad that he got hurt, man, because he's probably, in my opinion, he was the best striker in the league last season. I don't think that's too crazy of a shout to have.
Over your boy Peter Musa.
Over Paytar, call him by his actual name.
Peter.
Hey Peter.
Hey, Peter Musa.
You want to score for the for the burn. I think he in terms of how deep NYCFC ran in the playoffs, like they don't get there without Alonso Martinez. His clutch factor, just he reminded me of like old school Josef, if I'm being honest. Fast, decisive, and he scores when he needs to. And so just imagine if Pascal Jensen, my pick for coach of the year last year, had his boy. I think that we would be viewing this NYCFC team as one of the best teams in the league.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Let's move on to Miami. Jeremy said he doesn't think they're that good. Why do you say that? What's coming to you when you're saying this? I mean, they did fire. Well, no, Mascherano left, but we all know what happened there. Mascherano gone, and I'm kind of sad because he had an epic quote of like, yeah, things on the soccer field don't scare me. What scares me is what's going on with the potential war around the country, which is a based quote. But man, Mascherano gone, man. What is Miami doing? What is Messi thinking? Come on, Messi, why would you do this to your boy? Come on. Like, you think after winning some trebles with your boy Mascherano behind you at the base of the midfield, and sometimes at center back, that you'd, ride with him a bit better. But Jeremy, what are your thoughts on Miami?
So here's the thing. They've been unbeaten in all competitions since losing their season opener to LAFC. Does that sound a little weird to you? It does sound a little weird to me, considering they did lose to Nashville in Champions Cup, which was the one trophy that they absolutely had to win this year. They did not, because they lost to Nashville on away goals. Nashville finally got their lick back. Congratulations to them. However, none of these recent results have been inspiring to me. 2-2 against Austin in your stadium debut. What the fuck? 2-2 against the Red Bulls, which, by the way, they needed a late goal to get a point against Austin, even though they basically put Austin under siege. But every team puts Austin under fucking siege. It's like the whole point. And then this past weekend, allowing 2 goals on 2 shots on target. Just put Rocco in already. I'm tired of this. God, I'm just so not convinced. I'm not convinced. I don't think they found the proper balance in the midfield. They're still trying to account for Jordi Alba's absence. They're still trying to account for Busquets, both of those guys retiring. Like, I don't know, man. I'm kind of being a Miami downer, and I understand it takes a lot of time for like new pieces to like really settle, but now they don't have a coach anymore. Who are they gonna hire? I floated Gafferani earlier. I think another Gafferani's not going to do it. I'm just doing that because it's funny. But Marcelo Gallardo, maybe? I feel like that's the guy who they're probably going to look for. I think he'd take that job. But it's been a poison chalice since Messi got there. Like, Tata just won the Shield and said, I can't do this anymore. And now Mascherano's won the Cup, and he's like, I can't do this anymore. So I feel like when you are trying to be the behemoth of American soccer, it really takes a toll. And now they really got to ace that head coaching hire, because it was Mascherano's like tactical switches throughout the season last year that really took them to the Cup. It wasn't the strength of just Messi balling out. If there was any one player balling out during that championship run, it was Allende. So I feel like whoever's going to take that job, they don't really know what they're getting into. They know what the expectations are. Jorge Mas is an absolute psychopath. So, yeah. I don't know why, but like I feel like here comes the slight downturn. Like Mastriano was doing a lot to keep them like competitive and playing to the sum of their elite parts. We have not seen that this year yet. No, no, no.
Anything you want to lead off there? Or are you out of here, Joss?
I'll say one more thing before I head out for right now. Mascherano leaving much. I'm echoing what Jeremy says. Poison Chalice. Mascherano and Messi are boys. If things are going poorly there, Mascherano is leaving. So if things were going well, he'd still be there. I think is what I'm getting at. Something's going on behind the scenes, and maybe it is the CCL exit. I don't know, but for whatever reason, I don't think Mascherano would be leaving if things were all healthy behind the scenes. So it's an interesting storyline to watch as this season evolves.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be leaving the stream either if things were good behind.
It's 10:45.
No. I'm just kidding, brother. You be safe, dude. I'll catch you around.
Do me proud, boys. See ya.
See ya, homie. You can catch Joss at Joss Bathtub at Off to See the Wizards. Thank you, Joss. Keep the stream running though; it helps the numbers. Let's finish out these last few clubs. Dallas, FC Dallas, 1-1 draw against St. Louis. So I think that's a lot of more credit to St. Louis, who are kind of, we already talked about there. But thoughts on Dallas? I don't like Dallas. They piss me off. They just piss me off. They're 3-5-2. They don't know if they want Delgado or Valiente. They don't know if they want Kappas or Ramiro and Kaique or Kaique and Kappas. And it's working. They have benefited from playing DC United. Got that great road win under their belt. Have been beating teams at home as well. I don't think they've lost at home quite yet. Just one loss, and that was on the road. But what are your thoughts on Dallas so far?
Their floor is very high, and I think that's good for them. I'm really interested to see what Santiago Moreno is going to bring to this team. I'm not going to lie, because he's the guy who you did not mention in terms of like all of their like selection decisions. Like, how do you get Santiago Moreno in here? Sooner or later, he's going to become a starter, and that's going to be really good for them. I think he surpasses Delgado, but at the same time, like, I don't think he's going to perform to a DP level. At the very least, he's going to be a good connector. And I hate saying that. But, yeah, very high floor team. The majority of this Western Conference is very good, but Dallas has positioned themselves to be better than good. So I'm interested to see where they go.
What are your thoughts?
Oh, go for it.
Well, I was going to say, what are your thoughts on Nolan Norris, who's getting some starts again?
Awesome. Love me
Love
some
to hear
Nolan
it.
Norris. Yep.
We are now in the top 8 of the MLS of the Supporter Shield standings. There's 6 Western Conference teams in the top 8. And I think that just goes back to what we were saying about how the West really is. I mean, they're really starting to rally into being the Western Conference, of course. And we're going to start with Colorado Rapids, and I'm ready. I have my Rapids take after 7 games. When I see the Rapids, I see a lot of the same similarities to last year's San Diego side, surprisingly. In a Manu Dua, I see Harrington. You got fullback contributions from literally everybody on the roster, right? Up top, you have a very willing and able, team. And the thing is, like, where San Diego do it through, like passing and like movements off the ball, The Rapids just do it off a crazy a pressing front four that just suffocates teams. Like it's a little bit Philly-esque as well, but Philly nearly don't play it as much out of the back as the Rapids do. Philly are very much like we're just gonna shove this ball down your throat, whereas the Rapids are like we're gonna make sure we get that ball and just hold it, do what we want to do with it, force you into chasing us. And this team just loves to pass. I've never seen a Rapids team just like pass like so eloquently out of pressure. The one thing I will say is that a lot of that is coaching, right? My thing is they don't have that dryer. They don't have the guy. I think it is Rafa Navajo to some degree, but I've always kind of been a Rafa doubter, mostly because when it's time for Rafa to do anything on the ball, it's 50-50 whether or not you're going to get productive minutes out of him. But off the ball, stud. In the box, stud. It's just whenever he gets the ball, he loses his Brazilian flair. Like I don't know where it goes, but like he's not like a Neymar. He's not a Guilherme to put it in. Like give me Guilherme on the Rapids, not instead of Rafa, but like give me a player like that. And I think they do have someone like that in Georgie Manungu, who is just awesome to see. They have a guy like that in Dante Sealy, who's better on the left. But again, they're not Andres Dreyer. You know what I mean? Like they're dribbly boys. They can create danger. They can come in and do the things, but they're not that next level player that Dreyer is. And I think that's ultimately what's going to always handcuff this team is just the fact that they don't have the ceiling raiser. The floor is there. The team is good, right? But then, you're still missing that one elite player. Like Aronson and Rafa are good because they work hard. I don't need my DPs I love that my DPs are hardworking, but I need that DP that's just going to be the game winner. And I don't think the Rapids have that right now. I think a lot of Rafa's goals have come after the Rapids are leading. So it's always good to pile on to that lead. But you know what I mean? Like what do the Rafa minutes look like when he needs to be clutch, when he needs to win the games? Like that's what I'm looking for now. And I'll throw it over to you, Jeremy. What do you make of this Rapids assessment? I know I didn't really talk many big players, but that's kind of how I'm seeing the Rapids at this point.
I don't think you need to talk about a lot of the players because you're right. It is system. It's been such an interesting change in system that they've had for this year. Now, I do believe they're a very good team, but they have a week from hell coming up. So they're going to host Miami, at the football stadium. They're hosting Miami at the football stadium this weekend. Then they have to go to LAFC on Wednesday, and they go to Vancouver next Saturday. Do they have the legs for all of those games to still be able to play the way they want to play or the way Wells wants them to play? I don't know if they do, which is why this next week is going to be like, are they for real or like not so much are they going to get found out? Because first of all, I think they're beating Miami this weekend. Like that's just going to happen. They're catching Miami completely in flux. Even if Mascherano had stayed, they're going to win that game. But going to LAFC is going to be a tough ask. It's very tough to win there. It's tough to win at BC Place unless you do the exact opposite of what the Rapids want to do. The Rapids aren't going to low block in any of these games. They are going to try and press. They're going to run all over the pitch. And I agree with the fact that they're lacking a dryer, which brings me to my next point, because San Diego has two good, highly paid wingers. one of whom isn't seeing the pitch right now. Is there a possibility that ownership could be willing to eat a fair amount of Lozano's salary and say, Chucky, listen, we just need you to score and work hard. That's all we need. Is he going to do that, though? Is he going to be willing to press the way Matt Wells wants him to press? He's going to have the quality in the final third to be a difference maker. We already know that. But I think with this team, the press comes first. So I think Wells is only going to want a guy who's going to be willing to do things both ways. And it's hard to find very good difference-making wingers who are willing to do that. So
yeah, usually they cost a lot of money.
Yeah, that's the question for the summer window. But yeah, Colorado has definitely been a welcome surprise this year. Not just because like they're good, but why they're good.
A team that's not a welcome surprise and pisses me off that they're this good. Seattle Sounders. I think just very plainly they've gotten away with it so much more this season. Do we have?
They're winning right now.
They're getting away with it.
They're getting away with it. Do you want me to start with right now? They're playing Tigres. As of right now, they're in the 25th minute against Tigres. They're up 1-0. They still need another goal. They're down 2-1 on aggregate. They didn't get an away goal, but they're the only team who made it to this round in CCL this past weekend who did not have to play. They didn't have to play a game this weekend. They were scheduled to host RSL this weekend. LAFC made it to this round. They had to go to Portland. But who was the other one? Nashville had to go to Charlotte. Galaxy had to go to Austin. Yeah, they had to play in Austin this weekend. All three of those teams had to travel. Seattle had a home game on the schedule. They didn't have to play. They will always get away with it. Always. So, as of right now, God, I fucking hate this team. I hate this team so much. And they've just been able to fraud their way to 1, 2, 3, 4 unbeaten in a row in the league. 1, 2, 3 of those are 1-0 wins because they've just been low blocking. God, they're so disgusting.
Dickheads.
Like, they literally are. Like, I fully expect them to advance tonight against Tigres. Like, I already know that. I'm not going to be like, oh, Tigres is going to win and allow myself the fucking disappointment because this team always is going to get away with it. Wanderers, they always will. And they've been doing it this year to their credit. They do have the best pathway from next pro to the first team in the entire league, which allows them to remain competitive when they suffer a slew of center back injuries and you have to turn to Tino Lopez or Nikola Pekovic, who they signed on loan as a U22. He tears his ACL. They can just promote Peter Kingston. Everyone's like, oh, well, these guys are so young. They're fucking 24 or 25. They just stay in Defiance for years. Like, they
incubating.
They're just incubating all these guys, which I don't have a problem with. It's technically the best way to run an MLS team, to have basically ready-made replacements ready to go. But God, it's so infuriating that it has to be them that's doing it. God, it is. Like, if this was Colorado or just like another Western Conference team, like even if this was Dallas, who it really should have been, given how strong Dallas's academy was, it isn't that strong anymore. Like, it wouldn't be as offensive, but the fact that it's Seattle doing it, are you fucking kidding me? God. And they only go on the road one more time before the World Cup. Well, twice before the World Cup break. I didn't see the day on this LAFC game, but they have to go to LAFC on May 24th. They have to go to SKC on May 2nd. Every other one of their games is at home. Of course it is. Of course it is. I'm tired of them. Let's move on.
Chicago Fire is our next team.
There we go.
Something about Zinc, man. Zinc, not. I don't know. The Fire. Okay, the Fire. They're winning. They're winning games, but I really do not know. I don't have any real Fire takes because their team shape and dynamic has changed from a week to week basis. Sometimes they're out of a 4-2-3-1. Right now, Robin Lod is a striker, and Robin Lod, I don't know. I was hoping that it would be a much more harmonious integration of that player to that team, but I kind of miss Robin Lod on Minnesota, if we're being honest. Marin Hale Selassie, man, what a player. He has always been this player for them. So I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that he's getting some starts in now. I don't understand why for the longest time he wasn't their starter, like anywhere, whether it be fullback, wing. I see here he's listed as a striker, as a forward. I mean, I think that's more of like he's more of a winger, honestly. But Hale Selassie has been just quietly one of the better wingers in this league. And he's just ridden the Chicago Fire bench for whatever reason. I think he's one of the few Lugano players that has actually thrived in this league since, Chicago and Lugano have this partnership for players and whatnot and development. I don't know. Is that still going on? I forget. I know we got Rafa Wiki through that. Another SKC mention, of course. But what are your thoughts on Chicago? Because, it's solid defense. Elliott and Bukazi is awesome. Gutman playing some of the best Gutman ball we've seen. Jay Davila kind of figuring it out. Saletros, easy plug and play guy. He's not really lost a step in that midfield since. I think they've petered off because they're missing their 10. Whether it be a Brian Gutierrez or an Andre Franco. But what are your thoughts on Chicago?
Well, I think they peered off on the attacking end because of that. But defensively, they've only conceded 5 goals. That's the best in the East. And there's some pretty decent defensive teams in the East. So that's pretty good for them.
One team better.
In the East?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Nashville.
Nashville only allowed 4 or something like that. I thought 5 was. Oh well. Yes, that's right. Okay, ignore that. But yeah, I'm really intrigued. Most importantly, by their defensive improvements more so than the attack. I think the attack gets better once Franco gets back, or if he's going to be out for a fair amount of time, might have to plug that hole in the summer transfer window. I think it's the one thing that marries the entire attack together. But yeah, they firmly deserve to be in second place in the East because they actually are a good team. I think it's very clear that they are a tier above a lot of the teams they're directly above in the table. And a lot of that is Mbo Kazi, who is absolutely electric. And Chris Brady, who's also electric, but not in the just in the week-to-week stuff. But he is getting better from a week-to-week consistency standpoint this year. So that's always good to see.
I wish I was a bit more bold on my Chicago take. I had him at 3. And they're up there. They are up there.
Absolutely.
Another team surprisingly up here, Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake.
Let's just. I'll get this one out of the way for you. I know you don't want to have to discuss this. Gozo is very good. They found the proper role for him at right wing back. Sergi Solans has been outperforming Olatunji because he's been able to get into the right spot. This is very, very, very sustainable because Solans can start, and then you bring in an absolute bruiser like Olatunji off the bench. Like, you're constantly going to be able to score goals with either one of those two up top. Luna's still getting healthier. They're finding a good balance in midfield. Their back line's been really good, which is awesome. Like, I say it's awesome, but I mean, like, Brian Vera isn't there anymore, and I'm really happy to see the back of him. So, yeah, I think it's I think they're very, very, very consistent, very sustainable. Like, that's just like kind of it. However, the summer's coming around. We know what RSL loves to do in the summer.
Tank their team.
How much do we think that they're going to be able to hold on to Gozo? Which one of these players is the most likely to go? It might end up being Luna. And I think they could weather a Luna sale more than they could weather a Gozo sale right now. So we'll see. But as of right now, it's a very good start. But Pablo heard the slander at the start of the year. I'll put my hands up. I was wrong. You were wrong, most importantly. Yeah. They're good. RSL's a good team.
I still think they could drop all the way down to 15 with some luck. So gonna need some teams at the bottom of the West to pick it up a little bit. I'm looking at Kansas City in particular. Time for them to a lot of Kansas City strays on this episode. But let's move on to first in the East, 4th overall, Nashville, who are getting all the praise for their big win at Azteca against Club America. I saw a headline said probably the one of the most historic wins in North American soccer. I'm like, all right, let's pump the brakes there a little bit.
It wasn't even like that amazing of a game either. Like, I mean, sure, the result is monumental, but at the same time, like, I mean, Philly could have beaten them, Club America, earlier this year at the Azteca. So I think it's just like, as Club America might not be very good.
Yeah, I'm all for that. And this Nashville team, we talked about it. They just needed that third option, right? They have it in Espinoza, and it's insane just how much the rest of the team has been unlocked thanks to Espinoza. Tagseth and Yazbek, a second year of them. They are you cheering on Tigres? Tigres equalizer?
Yes, Joaquin, get the fuck in. He got the away goal. All right. Green.
Joaquin. Let me see. Joaquim, defender.
One of the center backs.
Yeah. Love that for you. And
I love it. This is important for Nashville too, because they will play the winner of this tie in the next round of CCL.
Yep. And I think they have the goods to take on Tigres, honestly.
Yeah.
They're a very strong team. And honestly, like again, Tagseth, Yazbek in that mid, because remember we were down on Tagseth last season. Like, he was starting to like plateau a little bit here and there, and this year him and Yazbek at that base, it's just, and then even without them, like Madrigal, like I feel like Madrigal is everything that Johnny Perez and Chasm weren't in just one tiny little depth winger that gives you like an option. Like, if Madrigal, like, let's say they don't get Espinoza, Madrigal is like probably not as impressive, right? But the fact that you have SB, I mean, you have your big three, Surge, Mukhtar, and SB, that allows Madrigal to be a little bit more of like a dicier guy, a little bit more of like a quiet option there. So I really like Nashville. Really like how they play. Big win on the road against Charlotte. That's points at the top of the table that are just going to be so crucial down towards the end of the stretch there. Like that kind of performance is like a shield defining performance, and right now they're 2 points out of the top spot, so it's not, I mean, it's a little or way early to be shield watching, but that point does matter. That those points matter in a place like Charlotte, who last season went on 9 unbeaten and kind of rode themselves into a situation where they could comfortably have the that table position. But love what I'm seeing from Nashville so far. What are your thoughts?
I think that Nashville's ability to still remain very competitive throughout the rotations is what's going to keep them as a Shield favorite heading into the World Cup break. Because they moved on to the next round of CCL. They are awaiting the winner of the Seattle Tigres team. They could win CCL this year. They are that talented of a team, which is a little bit weird considering like the prevailing wisdom has been you have to be a God squad. Like, I don't think Nashville is like a God squad on talent alone, but they're a bunch of really good players with a really good coach. And particularly when you look at the midfield, like Brian Acosta is their fourth option who can put in a good shift for any MLS game that he's in. So I firmly believe that they have the strength and depth. I'm worried what happened if injuries might strike, like particularly one of the big three. Like obviously, I think the biggest drop off is if Surge gets hurt, because we've seen that this year where he's had to miss a couple of games. Yeah, there's just every reason to be like, yeah, this team is legitimate. And like when I picked them first in the East at the start of the season for my preseason picks. And I was just really worried, like, am I doing this just off the strength of Espinoza? Like, is him just being the third option just enough to vault them into the elite status? It isn't just him, but it's also finding like an actually mobile replacement for Walker Zimmerman and Woodledsey. So they've done a lot of really good offseason work over the past few windows since BJ Callahan got there. And they're no longer a Gary Ball team, which is just like, it's good to see because like Nashville fans, whenever they show up, because I mean, they built the stadium with different color seats, so it looks funny when like there aren't a lot of people there. It looks like the stadium's still full. Those people really need to be supporting this team a lot more. And winning the Open Cup last year was a great start. BJ is I'm not going to say he's the front runner for Coach of the Year. I kind of want to give it to Pablo right now, but it wasn't so much just a case of getting Espinoza and this team is elite. It's getting Espinoza and getting the most out of every player on this roster. BJ's been able to do that. It's really fun to see. Very fun to watch.
We're going to move over to the top of the West. I'm going to group all these three just for time's sake because we're getting to the late stages of the pod. But LAFC, San Jose, Vancouver. I'll touch on LAFC a bit because it's this thing where we get to like LAFC where I'm like, yeah, they're just always going to be good. And Mark Dos Santos, like, there was this little bit of a fear that he wasn't going to be this good. I'll go over to Vancouver and kind of, I was big hyping up Vancouver, very excited for their season. The one team here, of course, that is a little bit of one of these things does not look like the other is San Jose, who, I mean, Bruce fucking Arena, dude. Like, man.
Grandpa Bruce.
He just got the golden whistle, bro. I'm thinking my coach of the year so far is Bruce Arena because he's doing it with only one DP, and that DP is like rarely ever in the rotation in the lineup. Nico fucking Sakiris. What a fucking player. I like I remember at the beginning of the season, someone was like, "You think Nico Sequeiros will play?" I'm like, "I'm so ready for him to get consistent minutes." Vieira also really good in that midfield. One of those mid-season signings from last season. And I really want to hype up San Jose because they have also, along with LAFC, have had a very strong defense, and you're doing it with guys like Robert Reed, Daniel Mooney, Reed Roberts. Yeah, I knew when I said it was wrong, but then losing DeJuan Jones was rough for them, and LAFC, like them using Segura at left back, Ryan Porteous, another season of him. Like I was ready for Porteous to be kind of a mid signing because he came from the championship, right?
But championship center backs, I'll tell you what, they are good.
Yeah, Porteous is a dog. Palencia still a dog. Hugo Lloris I think a lot of LAFC is just Hugo Lloris, not having as many mistakes, just elevating his play. And then Vancouver, I think, like the thing about these teams, right? And Seattle is up there as well. They have 2 goals against, but Vancouver, Nashville, like there's these teams that just have the defensive principle in mind, right? And I've said for the longest time, your defense probably matters a lot more than how your attack shapes out, right? Because you can go out and get a guy like a Sargent for $22 million, a Latte Lath for all this amount of boatloads of cash, Brendan Vasquez. It doesn't matter. Your defense, and not just your style of play, because of course it's like, well, Austin play defense. No, Austin play terrorist ball. It's not like they don't have a defensive identity. They're fuck Austin. Like, and these back lines aren't even, I guess LAFC is the more expensive one, but like Daniel Mooney, you know what I mean? Like for Vancouver, it's Ralph Priso.
Well,
Tate
hold
Johnson.
on. There's a big difference between how LAFC defends and how San Jose and Vancouver defend. But San Jose and Vancouver are so good at defending from the front. LAFC doesn't have to defend from the front as much because they do have a very good back line and a very good goalkeeper. So LAFC is more willing to let teams come forward on them. San Jose and Vancouver don't want that pressure to be extended onto their back line as much. They want to keep the game in front of them. LAFC is more willing to let teams come forward because they can just hit you with Son and Bouanga. So I think it's interesting the contrast between defensive principles between these top 3 teams in the West.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly wanted to highlight also like just the names on these back lines, right? Like Mooney, Kikanovic, who had been a bit of a homegrown star. Like it wasn't too long ago, San Jose also had a Wilson Eisner, who's now at San Diego. You know what I mean? And last season, San Diego's back line was what? Manu Dua, Christopher McVeigh, Bombino, another guy from LAFC, right? So it's like there's talent on the back line, and it goes to show you don't need to spend an absurd amount at that position. It does help to have a more solidified guy. You know what I mean? And I think it helps to have that experience come in, but experience needs to transition and they need to adjust to the league. Whereas like a guy like Bombino or a guy like Tate Johnson or a guy like Wilson Eisner, like these guys have been in these kind of leagues. They've been in the system. They've played in America before. Like they get it, right? And so you could afford to be a bit more loose at that wing at the fullback position, just generally speaking. But in midfield, I talked up Sequeiros for San Jose. It's LaRue For Vancouver, it's Berhalter, right? And then for LAFC, it's kind of a mix there. They have talent all over this. And that's the thing about LAFC. They just have talent. They just have they are the God Squad. They are the God Squad with the demigod in Buanga. We got Deep Parks waving in here. But the LAFC are that typical team that team that just have the God Squad. They have followed that Atlanta model and they've kept on with it. It's the LAFC model now. Fuck Atlanta. They lost it once Heinze. Once they went out and got Heinze, they've lost that DP and make a boatload of transfers and stuff like that. But San Jose and Vancouver, proven that, like, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily all about like getting the flashiest players, and they each got two Germans in Werner and Muller. But again, it goes back to what I said earlier. If you can add those types of players and they complement your team, it's better than having to rely on them. Mm-hmm. And it is the D Parks from Kickbase Chill Wizard. What are your thoughts there, Jeremy?
I would like to talk a little bit about Vancouver because I still think they're the team with the highest ceiling in the West. And that's keeping in mind like LAFC, but Dos Santos has been very pragmatic, which if LAFC is more comfortable using the ball eventually, they'll get there. But they haven't been able to break down defenses that well. They've been relying on shots from outside the box. Vancouver, though, has outside the box. Vancouver's best winger has only played 2 games for them, though. Bruno Caicedo is a fucking monster. Like, I think he is very close to what Buanga is. I see the Buanga-esque traits in his play. He can beat anyone on the dribble. He cuts inside, he can shoot, but he wants to provide more than shoot. And Vancouver's whole game plan this year has just been trying to get those cutbacks into the middle for Brian White, late arriving Berhalter, Muller, the other winger, maybe even another wingback like Ocampo. Like, Vancouver's ceiling is still like stupid high. Their floor is stupid high. And Caicedo's just starting to play. So, yeah, I had to do some Bruno Caicedo propaganda in here. He's just so fucking good. And it pisses me off so much how good he is. God. On the San Jose side.
I got this D Parks comment first. Dos Santos is playing similar ball to Cherundolo, and the media, it's giving, "Oh, you're sweet" / "Hello, human resources." Do you know that meme?
Not to LAFC fans though. They're sick of it. They're already sick of it, and like I understand their frustrations a little bit, but this is a fucking results-based game, and ultimately, if your entire game plan is we have Son and Buanga, and I want to get them an open space. Go for it. Literally go for it. Those two were terrorizing teams down the stretch last year. Dos Santos is a pragmatist. He definitely has the best wishes of his locker room and the front office. And LAFC can always add more talent too. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Vela, if you remember, if I remember correctly, he was not like the counter-attacking demon that Buanga is. He was very good in possession. So what Dos Santos and Cherundolo have essentially done is tailor their team around the strength of their best players. And you have 2 elite box defenders in Tafari and Porteous. Lloris taking his level up contributed more, not to like their defensive floor, but to their defensive ceiling, because he was the biggest reason why they didn't concede a single goal through the first 6 games. They still haven't conceded a goal whenever he starts an MLS play. We'll see if that changes this weekend when San Jose comes to town. Like, oh yeah, LAFC San Jose this weekend. What a Sunday night soccer matchup that is. I think LAFC is just like they're expected to be here. And it doesn't really matter how they play because they're going to be good regardless. They just have the talent. San Jose, though, I said Pablo for Coach of the Year earlier. It's in between him and Bruce. And I wouldn't be pissed with whoever gets it. Because last year was the year of the first-year coaches who were wreaking havoc. Callahan's just continued his momentum. All of the other first-year coaches from last year, aside from Sorensen, have kind of taken a little bit of a step back. But, like, that's because the level of expectation for Vancouver has always just been this high. It's going to be really interesting to see how the top four of the West shakes out, because I'm pretty sure we've already seen their three best. Like, those three are already locked in as far as I'm concerned, even though we're like 8 games in. I think San Jose has the most like variance in there because I don't really think they played a ton of like elite teams. They did get a win in Vancouver, but this game against LAFC is going to teach us a lot about them because I don't think LAFC is rotating a lot. I'll tell you that much.
One final player I wanted to hype, Van Badwall. What a player. I have a proposition for you.
Yes.
Van Badwall or Bo LaRue?
Oh. Now, this is interesting because I if I'm building an MLS team, I want versatility. And Badwall can play on the wing. He can play at the 10, he can play at the 8, or he can play at the 6. Of course, there's varying levels to each of those, but you know what he's going to do whenever he plays each of those positions? He's going to give 100% effort and be an absolute demon off the ball. I think that's what gives it to Badwall more than LaRue right now. Even though LaRue, I think, is better technically. But I just want some kind of berserker. I love having just like a young player who's a berserker who just put him somewhere, watch him run, and allow him to create chaos. It doesn't have to be like perfectly technical all the time. I'm taking Badwall in that.
Perfect. That was my last question for you because I wanted to throw in Badwall. He's been a stud. He's been so good. I think we're here at the end of our program, Jeremy. I think it's very fitting that this is a 3-hour pod because we won't be here next week. There is a midweek slate of games, and so like if you want to hear our thoughts again, just rank up this pod and do the damn thing. Like listen to us again ahead of the next week because we won't be back until what is that? Won't be back until the 28th. So right before the end of the month is when OTB will be back. But Jeremy, where can they find you?
You can find me on the Elon app at Sports Guy Jeremy, where the Blazers have made the playoffs, which means I get to moonlight as a Blazers fan because my actual basketball team, the Brooklyn Nets, are stinky and they're playing for draft picks. So go Blazers, and I get to tweet about them. Hopefully I'll be able to go to one of those playoff games next week. Yes, their home playoff games are next week. It's good. I like playoff games. Blue Sky time? Yeah, Blue Sky. At jeremypearman.bsky.social. Straightforward. Read my work, cascadiafc.com, where it isn't just me who's writing. Currently, although the Sounders are currently in a glass case of emotions at Lumen Field. Wait, let me get a quick check on that real quick. Please. Halftime 1-1, thank fucking God. We do have a correspondent there, Mr. Callahan Bluecall. He'll be publishing a recap from this game. And also, to keep an eye on the future, I got rejected by the FIFA Media Hub today because I'm not a professional journalist. You might have been listening to this entire episode and thinking, yeah, it doesn't sound like a professional journalist to me. I say whatever to that. All I need to do is make FIFA think that I'm professional. Just because I don't work for a news outlet or like ESPN or some shit doesn't mean that I should not have the right to go cover the USA-Australia game in Seattle during the World Cup, which is something that my outlet has been trying to get. So we are still in the process of getting those done, but hopefully this will end with me in a seat in a very spacious press box at Lumen Field watching the U.S. men's national team play Australia in late June.
Hey, I'm right there with you. Box State Footy also got denied for being really cool. You guys are just too cool for us. Chill Wizard asks, how does Kickbase work with midweek games? It just means players' points will double up. So try and find a player that'll play across both games for those max points. Deep Parks World, thanks, fellas. We'll catch up on the first 2.5 hours later in the week. I mean, you got 2 weeks to really listen up to Outside the Box. So whether it be this week or next week, back to this Sounders disaster. Jeremy loves
disaster
that.
is putting it. Yeah, disaster, sure.
And then Sharon, of course, a hate watch during the pod. Gotta love a hate watch during the pod. You can find me at waners.bsky.social, at waners715. I'm on Instagram now at I'm Waners. I think that's a pretty cool little.
You are Waners.
Well, I don't own. I only own Waners on B-Sky. So I might change my Twitter one to I'm Waners because the guy that has at Waners on Twitter blocked me officially because after pestering them to release the Waners they were like, fuck you, dude. No, fuck you, dude. I'm Waners. And of course, Box State Footy at bsky. At Box State Footy. Everywhere you go, boxstatefooty.com. Jordan Morris let his mark score a header with almost both the scorer's feet flat on the ground. Lol.
That's the Jordan Morris I know and love. That's right. That's fucking right. Get it, baby.
We'll let Deep Parks cap off the pod there. But thank you guys for tuning in to this live edition of the Outside the Box Open Cup Content Delay live stream. And we'll be back in 2 weeks for some more hilarity. There's the Kickbase.
Set your Kickbase lineup.
Yeah, set that up. Set that up. You guys be safe, and we'll see ya when we see ya. Bye-bye.